The one that I really love, I can tell you that before coming here, I've always thought evaluation is great. Are you with me? But if it happens, it's okay. If it doesn't, after all, you have taught the concepts, you've given the exams, they should have known it. But Pastor Sergey, when he finished and show how you can use the evaluation results to construct a wall, where when people score 5, it's a perfect, well-baked brick wall. 4 is an orange wall. 3 is a gray wall. 2 is a black. Is it black?
Yes.
1 is 2
It's a brown wall.
is a brown wall, and 1 is a black, and 0 is a white wall. And then when you use it, instead of just using numbers, use different color of brick to represent people in their score. You create a wall, and by the time you finish it, you will see that the wall is very porous. And you begin to ask yourself, is this the type of people I can use with holes everywhere? So I stopped seeing people as names, and I started seeing all of you as walls. And it becomes easier to say, I'm not using this wall. This is a porous wall. This is but if I just see your face, I will hug you, my brother, my sister. But that really helped me to not just take evaluation very serious, but also to decide that I will never use unbaked wall in building any dam that I know is as serious. And that's so strong in my spirit. Not to say that I don't love you, but all of you are now walls, not
Thank you so much, Professor. Okay, would anybody else would like to share with us? Okay, so thank you so much, Pastor Darius. Thank you, Professor. So we will check our home assignments now.
Welcome again. You've done very well this night, not morning. Before I start, I'd like to ask: do we have Eunice Vachira here? She hasn't come, right? Probably she didn't come. And Peter Olmo promised Isaac didn't come. Okay. Well, most of you did so very well, and if it was the first level, we would probably give you the green card, but for the second level, it's expected that you're supposed to do this way. So if you want to get a green card, you have to do even better. But several things I'd like to mention. The following works that, the names I'm going to name right now, still have written very small answers. By small, I mean that after the answer, we had like 1 or 2 or 3 sentences explaining, in some cases, just paraphrasing the answer, or if it's, do we need organized righteousness? Of course we need it, with no proof why. Or just, no details, or no example, or no practical personal application. And the works are by Bola Ogedegbe. Good work, all questions answered, but not much of personal application. Germain Koau Dio, sorry if I mispronounced. Then Oluwakemi Oluwakoya. Questions number 5 and number 7, all the others have personal applications, these 2 don't have. Oyeronke Aboya Dekole, same thing. Then Peggy Anikbogu, we noticed that in number 7, you just listed the skills and you didn't prove why they're important to have. And Sandra Manza, question number 9, we just thought that you kind of just paraphrased the question. Yes, Sandra. Is Sandra here? Okay, sorry. And number 5 is not complete. Was not completely answered. You should please pay attention to that one. Okay, and also Ejatu Sharif. Maybe where is Ejatu? Okay, maybe it's a problem with the server. We didn't understand because we received your work and it was just only the answers for the first 2 questions. It felt like it was cut or something. It looked like it was. Yeah, we thought so. It would be strange. Yeah. So just resend. And well, again, I will mention several works with. You don't get the green cards, but you are almost there. So these are Claudio Pavel, Derek Schneider, Gregory Lan Ijivola, Pastor Paul Manene, Loret Mukati, and that's it. And please, several things that I want you to please take to your attention. When most of you insert the questions, but some of you forget. You just put the number and then there goes the answer. It's hard to check. Please insert the questions. You have them in electronic form. In many works, please, when you make a list of anything, like if they ask you to list anything, like make a list of 5 points, qualities, skills, or anything, always prove why you chose them. And I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good work, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, so while we have a couple of minutes, just wanted to go through the schedule for today to remind you everything, so we'll not need to do it after the meeting. Okay, so after the teaching, we finish at 12, you have lunch, and then workshop. Group number 1 will have workshop in the meeting hall. Unfortunately not here because of projector. So group number 1, you already know yourself. Group number 2, it's second floor in this house. And group number 3, also second floor in this house. And you stay in those auditoriums for 3 days. So you remember we have 1 workshop, 3 hours long. Then self-training, dinner. You submit your homeworks by 7:30 tonight. So 1 hour before meeting starts. And so after the evening session, you will need to submit shocks and decisions of the day. Also, I will just explain you how we do it now, because I don't think we did it at the last HMT this way. So everyone will receive a link. So when you open that link, it will be like a form that you need to fill. You don't need to put your name there. Just fill shock of the day and decision of the day. And that's it. And then submit. Okay, so if you don't have your computer with you, please, if you have a chance to borrow a computer from your neighbor just for 1 minute to submit your shock and decision of the day, that will be very helpful for us. If you will not be able to do that, then we will ask you to come to one of our guys and dictate your shock and decision of the day. So we will not take papers, because then we can misread it. Okay? So that's the way we are going to do that tonight. And we are going to read the book of Abi Olova. You already know the book. So actually, we can probably use our time now. If you have your book with you, you can start reading it. Yeah, so we can use our time. Yep.
Is it 7 or 7:30?
By 7:30, 1 hour in advance. Yeah. If it will be any changes, we'll let you know. If you have any questions, I can also answer now. Everything is clear.
Sorry, just confirmation. Shocks and decisions by 7:30, right?
No. Homeworks by 7:30. Shocks and decisions at night, after the night meeting.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah, after the evening meeting. Only at night. Okay, any other questions?
So the homework, apart from the book, there's going to be other homework.
Yeah, it will be the same way as we did last time. So you will have written questions, questions to answer in written, and book. So you will get a portion of book just for the day, but for the night you will only have questions to answer in written. So let's welcome Pastor.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Are you still sleeping? Tired? Like one of your eyes is closed almost. How are you all doing today? Are you fine? Yes. Have you started reading the book yet?
Yes.
If not, get ready. But we are going to check and we are going to analyze it. But we will not start from this morning because we didn't give you that yet. But we'll start this morning with the assignments. I've told you this. So let's analyze the film we watched and the conclusions and the questions that were asked. You all answered the questions, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. And they did it very well.
So what I'm going to do is that since we have 15 questions here, I'm going to allow all of us to go through all the questions to tell me what your answer was concerning not everyone, but if one has answered one, then you answer the next one. If one has answered one, then you answer the next one. You get it? You don't get it? For example, I will say question number 1 each equal answer, question number 2 equal answer, question number 3 until we get to the end of the questions. So you just read out your own answer. Whatever your answer was. Okay, question number 1 says, after watching the movie, is it clear to you that your nation's destiny is your responsibility? And how are you going to apply the message, that this message of taking responsibility for your country in your own particular situation? Who wants to answer that particular number 1 question? Yes.
I said the movie shows how one man, Michael Faris, the founder of the Homeschool Legal Defense Association, after running unsuccessfully for Lieutenant Governor of Virginia, decided to take the destiny of America as his responsibility by founding a university that would teach homeschool students values and principles to become transformers of culture in various spheres, specifically politics. Even though it started with a few hundred students, the impact is already being felt as these students played a part in the election of President Bush, thus impacting the entire nation and the world through his administration. This is a great example and inspiration to me because it shows that though I'm one man, I can have an impact on the destiny of my nation if I invest in the lives of the next generation through education, mentoring, and training. As I step out to do the things God put in my heart, even though they seem out of the box or are controversial, those things can go on to become great influencers of people and systems in my nation. I plan to apply this message by continuing to train people to occupy the spheres of influence in my city and nation through the church and the Leading Lights movement. One of my goals in life is to start a university that will train and release the younger generation into the society as influencers, thus affecting the destiny of my nation.
Are you just answering me that question, or you really believe it?
I believe it. Yes,
I want to know for sure.
I really believe it.
You believe it?
Yes, sir. So I was inspired by, one person, stepping out. He believed that it could change the future.
And you believe it too?
I believe it too.
Is there anybody who believes it too? No, on personal level. For you. You do?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Well, how do you want to do it?
How do I want to do it? I've already begun with this network called Godly Governance Network. And what I understood from that was I saw now what's in my heart, that it is possible. And we've put up systems, but we've not put up systems of training on that level. So I believe that with the influence that I've already got, the networking of people I've already got, and the understanding now of systems, that if I go back and if I take those people on that network, on the leadership of that network, we sit down and talk, we can begin to do that. Because I believe...
If you give them leadership?
Sorry?
If you will give them leadership?
Yes, I'll give them leadership. I believe that the years of working there already has already given me a place of influence. So now that I've got a practical system and a practical example, even taking that, video and letting...
You know that video is on your YouTube?
Yeah, I believe so.
It's there. It's there.
Yeah,
On
so that I can show that and say, look, it's been done, it's possible, and that we mustn't think that, because of South Africa's problems and because of the issues that we can't do it, we can do it.
Okay, very good. Is there anybody who really, not just believe it, but you think it's possible for you? You think so?
Yes, sir. If I look, I was just reading through my answer to that question, and there's something happened to my spirit this morning which I never thought about. Is that if I'm trying to reach the teenagers and the youth in Nigeria, I just have an understanding. I need to start a school, which will be based on the principle that has been applied in that field.
And you think you are going to do it?
I will do it.
Ideas come to everybody, you know that?
Yes, I will do it.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Out of all people that ideas come to, what do you think? How many people really get to realize those ideas?
I may not be able to say percentage by wise, but maybe 10%.
Maybe 1%. Are you sure you are going to be in that 1%?
I will do it.
Because you have to be sure. You've got to be sure. Any other person?
Yes, I was a professor in university, and I wanted to manage...
It doesn't have to be true education. I wonder why you're all talking about education. The concept. We're talking about concept.
And that was, I was really very young, and I saw how things were done, and I felt that, if university was going to do a job right, I probably have to come up with my own university. And so, in that example, I saw somebody who went ahead and did exactly what was my dream then. That was...
He went ahead. That's a good point. That's a good one. That's a good one. He went ahead with it.
Yes, and did it.
See, he never got it to 1%. He didn't. That one got to the 1%. He went ahead. That's a good one. He went ahead and did it. That's the point here. Will we go ahead after Q? Okay, number 2 question. Draw parallels between the ideas of the college or the college founder and Pastor Sunday's aim or what goals? What is Pastor Sunday trying to do with us? You think I have a goal? Or you think I'm just entertaining you? I'm making you have a good feeling? Okay, who wants to read his own answer for that? So that anybody answer that question? Yeah. Nobody did. Please.
I said 5 parallels I can draw.
You've got to be an upstart. I never told them about being upstart.
At the first stage, probably.
Did I teach you about at the first stage? Violence. Yeah. You've got to be an upstart. Everybody's got to be an upstart.
So I said 5 parallels I can draw as follows. 1, Pastor Sunday's teachings have emphasized a clear global vision. And in this case, the founders of the college, Faris in this case, has a clear global vision of returning America to its biblical foundations, especially as it relates to government policy and laws. So a clear vision is very important. 2, they identified some realistic milestones by raising money from evangelical Christians to establish the college without getting into debt. 3, so the milestones, we learned a lot about. If you have a clear global vision, you must establish milestones that will guide you as to whether you are realistically arriving at where you have set out to arrive at. 3, they aimed to provide an excellent education by competing with the best.
But you are not answering my question, though.
You said parallels to what you've learned.
No. What was number 2 question? What does it sound like?
Number 2 is establishing realistic...
You have the green something?
Yes.
No, that's not number 2 question.
So you say draw 5 parallels.
Yeah. No, that's not just parallels. Read it to the end.
Okay, you know the question is broken down.
Maybe the language of the question might not be the best because of our Russian language converting it to English. But I will not just parallel in the activities or the goals of the school, but I want you to look further than all that. What you are telling me is very. Don't let me get cross at you, because I don't like people. I want people to always think deeper than the surface.
Okay.
What you are telling me what everybody saw in the film. What they did, and you are making conclusions, obvious conclusions. Not conclusions. You are just making summary. Comprehension is what you are doing now. Comprehension. You are telling me what happened, but I want you to go deeper than that and see into the ideas and the purpose behind the mind, or in the mind of the people who want to do that. But that is also easy. Now compare that to what Pastor Sunday is trying to do with us. That's more complex now. That becomes tough. Not what they did, but the ideas, the motive behind the founders' actions. Put that in parallel picture to what Pastor Sunday is trying to do. I want you to go down, deep, and think and come up with, wow, yeah, I see now, number 1. Number 2. Whew. Number 3. That is real deep thinking. So give me 1 point each this time. If you want to do it.
Yeah, okay, yes. So the first thing is, I think they were confronted with an issue, a national issue, and the reaction is not emotional, the traditional way to deal with it among Christians. But they chose to design a system to deal with the problem. And it shows that they believe that life is predictable. That if they design a system, they will be able to have sustainable results to address the problem that can also outlive them when they are done. That's one of the first parallel I saw with what we are learning.
Yeah, but the second part of it says, what is Pastor Sunday trying to do with us? Compare that with what Pastor Sunday is trying to do with us. Aim. They use the word aim. I don't know if aim is the best word there, but it still communicates it.
It's aim, yes.
Yeah. So what is that? How will you now compare that with you sitting here, Pastor Sunday in Ukraine, and you? What is it after? You must get that. This is important. I want you to really get deep to that. Pastor Peggy. Anybody who snatches it is the one who gets it.
Okay. I'll give 1 from mine, because I did parallel what I saw and compared to what I see us doing here.
Okay, you see, she got it. And the reason, that's very important for me. You must not just read questions like this and rush to answer. Make sure you understand every word. Everything starts from your own understanding, of whatever you are being asked to do. You must go deep first there. Then you can, dig deep. From deep comes to deep. Okay.
The first one I named, as I stated, was outcome-focused training. They trained their students there as soldiers necessary to transform America and in the world eventually. And I see what Pastor Sunday is doing for us. That's the way the question said here. He's training us as leaders that will also go out to enforce the principles of the kingdom of God in our land to overcome it. So it's like we are also soldiers being trained to go out and also overcome and enforce the kingdom of God in the areas where we are planted. So I saw a parallel there. Then I also saw the one of be the best university, a parallel Christian institution that will rival Harvard, Princeton, and Yale. You know, we keep saying here the materials that we use here in the trainings and in the HMTs, even from the time I was coming to FAST. We say there's no Ivy League university that you can get the same materials from. So I see the ultimate goal here also being to build a Christian university. Ultimately, the materials are here, but ultimately the university, the materials are already here, and the university, I said not compare. I'll say it's an envy of Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. I also got this one. I said the Dominion mindset. They said it again, is another parallel. They say the mold system to mold America to a Christian republic. And I see us learning here how they are going to do cities of refuge for Ukraine. I say in a couple of years, this nation will become a Christian nation. If we will take the same principles back to where we are planted and enforce the same principles that are being taught here, which is the same principle that is being taught in this university there, we will also be able to achieve the same goal that they have in mind.
Thank you. Anybody wants to add to that?
I go to read one of my answers. The movie teaches that history is always made by people. If people who are in power to decide the destiny of the whole society do not live according to divine principles, the whole society will have to suffer the effects of corruption and the entire system will be ready to fall. Pastor Sunday teaches that we carry in the values of the kingdom, such as justice, love, respect, truth, purity, peace, patience, hope, loyalty.
This guy who is French, he doesn't understand English, but he's answering so perfectly well.
And we are the ones that we can and we must enforce these values to occupy the entire area of influence of the society. The creation waits for our manifestation. The creation waits for our manifestation means that there are a number of people, a part of this society that is waiting for me, that without fulfilling the dream of God that is inside me, a part of the society will not be redeemed and suffer the effects of the curse and corruption.
Brilliant. No. You cannot just give me one answer. You have to give me more answers, all the answers. You are right on. You just got it right there. Give me the second one. That is so good. Very good.
Only the principle and the values of
But you write English very well.
Only the principles and the values of the kingdom of God can transform our societies and destroy the corruption in every sphere of life. This is a little... Three, the dreams that are hidden in our hearts are God's instruments to influence the world, to manifest His glory and to benefit and the benefits of His kingdom on earth. Number 4.
No, but here you are not you didn't do as well as you did before.
Number 4, a little more. Like Pastor Sunday, the mission of Patrick Henry College is to prepare Christian men and women who will lead their nation and shape their culture with timeless biblical values and fidelity to the spirit of the kingdom founding. Educating students according to a classical liberal arts curriculum and training them with apprenticeship methodology, the college provides academically excellence, baccalaureate, legal education with a biblical worldview. Number 5, like Pastor Sunday, the vision of Patrick Henry College is to aid in the transformation of society by training Christian students to serve God and mankind with a passion for righteousness, justice, and mercy through careers of public service and cultural influence. only a little difference. Pastor Sunday focalize all the 7 spheres of life in the case of history maker training.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Anybody wants to add to that? Yes, please.
So my work is not here, so I'm just going to say it from what I remembered. The parallel that I drew from what the founder of Patrick Henry College did is that he selected homeschool students, and that I believe that is on purpose, because he didn't want students that are already influenced by the culture. He just wanted students who carry the biblical principle without being confused, with what the society is saying to them. And then I parallel that because that's the same way that you treat us when we come to History Maker. It's like you, first of all, try to get rid of our religious baggage and our religious mindset, and then you begin to teach us, what it is that we can take back to our spheres of influence.
It is important that we understand all those parallels. And because those parallels that you understand will now help you to create your own parallel. Then you'll be able to build a system because you know the principles behind the action of Pastor Sunday, Michael Faris, and all that. Okay. Yes.
Can I add to that?
Okay.
I also noticed that they used a term in there where they said to actually, we don't want just to train pastors, we don't want to train just Christians. They defined very clearly who they were training, what sphere of society. And I think part of the reformation that you're bringing and teaching us to do is not just be a Christian floating throughout society, but to be able to clearly define what sphere you're called to and to educate yourself in that way. The second quote that I remember was, they want to re-Christianize America. So again, it wasn't just being a Christian, hiding from the world, waiting until we can get to heaven. But Pastor Sunday, you teach us that we're to actually change culture and make it a Christian nation, a Christian culture, not just to hide and wait to go to heaven. So to be the offensive.
Okay, thank you. Number 3, why does righteousness need to be an organized system? I'll be teaching more on organized righteousness in the evening, but just for you to, I want to hear what you want to say. If Christians are united by one united and organized goal, how will it change the result of their work or their influence or their impact in society? So, why do we need to be organized as Christians to be able to make impact? Anybody want to answer that?
I could draw a parallel, from the previous question.
Okay.
Because one of the things that came out very clearly was the fact that they designed a curriculum. They designed a teaching curriculum that was biblically based, irrespective of the areas of discipline. So, of course, they were not bringing these people together to be part of a Bible college. They were bringing them together to get an education.
So what's the parallel?
So the parallel there is that also here, the things which you have been teaching at the History Makers training since last year, on the surface, may not to many people
look very religious.
Be very religious, but they are biblically based principles that are teaching us practical and effective principles for bringing kingdom advance and influence in the different areas that we have a passionate burden for.
Yes, basically so. Okay, what about this next point, this next question I'm asking, organized system? Do you people, anybody fit on it?
I just got to think of a picture in that. It's like all the parts of a car lying around on the ground.
That's good.
They might all be there, but if they're not combined in an organized system and put on the exact right place in the car won't be able to move forward.
Brilliant.
However, when all the parts are put together in an organized and harmonious way, the car is a means of transportation that can become a blessing to many and move them forward to their specific goal.
Excellent. Okay, anybody wants to talk about organized righteousness and why we should be organized and how well that's going to help us. Yes.
Adelaja, the HMT has told us that the whole world was created by God based on systems. So to be able to achieve or attain any goal in life, there must be a well-written and clear system whereby everyone will be fixed, about it, and know exactly what to do. Without system, nothing can stand. System brings stability, assurance, and the right expected result.
Yes.
Therefore, it is very vital that righteousness must be an organized system to have a guarantee of expected result.
Very
if
good.
Christians are united by one united goal, the result of their work in the society will be more greater and of a big impact. It will be much more easy to succeed in any social activity. The lack of a united and clear system will inevitably bring failure and disappointment.
Very good. Okay. Anybody wants to add to that?
Just
No. Let her do it, because you people who are not active, you are good. You are active.
In fact, the type of battle that we're fighting does not need one person to win. It needs a united team. It needs people. It needs people who are in teamwork, because it is said in Matthew 12, a kingdom divided against itself will be brought into dissolution, and at the same time a house that is divided against each other will not stand. So we will not be able to stand if we are individual or we are scattered in various places. But we'll be able to stand when we are united and form a team to fight this battle.
Very good. Now, you say the same people are raising up their hands, same people. But I want all of you to participate. You know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to have everybody who has not answered to stand up, and then you will sit down only after you must have answered. No, I'm actually saying that. Stand up if you have not answered.
Yeah.
You don't understand English? Everybody who has not answered here today, stand up, then when you answer, you sit down. Unless you have health issue. If you have health issue, please sit down.
Yeah, I could hear that. Righteousness needs to be in an organized system so that it can outlast the vessel who executed that system, and so that it can be transferable. It can be transferable effectively in any other context without the original person who actually started it. And also it can be put into any other situation by any other person who applies the same principle, and it can be successful.
Good. Yes.
I wrote, righteousness should be an organized system for Christ to reign upon it. When the righteous reign, the people rejoice, and through unity of organized goal, Christians will bring liberty into society, and there will be righteousness and justice.
You tried, but okay. What do you want to say?
I wanted to give I wanted to give a practical example as to why righteousness needs to be organized, and what I've learned in the emphasis we've been placing on building systems. I have been involved in running in the primaries of a political. Bring together people of different persuasions, different worldviews, different value systems, and all of that. And one of the challenges which I saw, having gone through the primaries, was the fact that because as Christians we hadn't organized ourselves around the need to infiltrate a political party and take over the machinery of it, so that the outcome of the primaries can be predictable in producing candidates with the right values. What eventually happened was that getting involved in those processes means that you are more or less like a lone voice trying to bring change amongst people who have organized themselves around the principles they believe in, against your position. And so the need for organized righteousness is to put together systems that would bring like-minded people with the same values who would devise a system of taking over the party leadership at local level, and that will ensure that they can predictably
very
have
practical
candidates
example.
who would come up with the process.
You have encountered the importance, the need
Yes.
to organize on practical level.
Yes.
And you know that if righteousness is not going to organize,
forget it. You can't.
And you now, will you tell people who are sitting here that that is exactly the reason why Christians get to politics
and get consumed?
Of course.
Yes.
It's so easy. Since you are only there as an entity, as a person,
one person,
and the whole environment around you is
it's
not
corrupt.
righteousness. It's
Yes.
rather organized unrighteousness.
Yes.
You will be corrupted even if you are Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Unless you set your own system
Yes.
of organized righteousness
Yes.
and form your own team and build
Yes.
structures in place, make it into a system that will counteract
Yes.
that or that. So tell us about the importance. You cannot overemphasize the importance of that.
Yes. So as I said, I mean, for instance, at a practical level, the structure of the party at a practical level, at local level, is that different interest groups look to secure the party executive positions, because it is in their interest. If they secure the party executive positions, they can determine who will emerge as a candidate for whatever elective position is going to come up at a later stage. So the first thing they do is to organize themselves, get their people, they meet together and get their people to ensure that they capture those positions. Now, organized righteousness, what that would do for us is to get together with like-minded believers to then say, okay, this is the party structure, this is a party chairmanship position, deputy chairmanship position, maybe financial secretary position, and all of that. We need to occupy these positions. And then we organize ourselves, become members of the party around our principles, so that those who will come together in our group are defined by, like we learned, these people did in school, you have the code of conduct, the ethics, what you abide by, what you stand by. So we organize around our own principles and ethics, get into the party, we select those who we want to run for certain positions. Because we come as a block, we can then get those positions by running as a block, and then we can influence who emerges as a candidate.
As you are talking, I'm also thinking, because you are talking the concept of a given political party. Let's take it beyond that confined party. Can righteousness be organized beyond a political party per se? Let's say, even across party lines or across border lines or across, just reach out to the city with everybody that have the same basic righteous principles with us. So now, if that is possible, we are all saying yes to that. Your computer is loud, eh? If we are all saying yes to that, I want all of you to think right now about different, let's think about 5 different groups, righteous groups, that we could organize or we could cooperate or collaborate with to attain our own vision. Can you think of 5 groups in your own field? You don't get it, the question? You got it? So don't let us only think of ourselves as Lone Rangers. Don't let us just see ourselves as a war to ourselves. Can you find 5 people in your country that are trying to do similar things as you are trying to do?
One clear example I can give, sir, is there's something we have sort of called Governance 500. And the aim of Governance 500 is to provide training opportunities from within the church. So it's focused on Christians.
What about if they are not from your church?
No, it's across. It's not just within my church.
What about if they have not gone through history makers in Kyiv? They don't need to.
They don't need to,
They don't need to be from my church. They don't need to have gone through history maker in Kyiv. They don't need to. We should not look at things that we don't have in common, things that divide us, but rather look for that basic thing that is uniting us,
That's
the
what we've done,
righteousness
sir.
factor.
Actually, we're even online. That's what we've done. So it is nationwide. And even the faculty of speakers were not all, Christian in terms of, some came to just speak about specific things, electoral reform,
Brilliant.
and so on.
Now, Professor, you will now understand why I've been pushing for us to have to build a bridge of relationship with people like Ndidi, or what's her name? Ngigi or Ndidi, right? Ndidi. Yeah. So, can you imagine if INT will really, because they don't understand that because they would like to control it. You know what I do? Control, but just let us be together. Or they don't control INT, but control the relationship. If you want to control the relationship, you want me to be the second man? Okay, go ahead. You want me to be the slave here? Let me be the slave. But let's join our strength with your strength. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine? There is another guy I saw that is doing something that we believe in, that we are doing. That fella guy.
Fela Durotoye.
Durotoye, yes. Can you imagine if INT would get together with that fella guy?
And Leke Alder. He's one who's Leke Alder. He started this government 500.
Okay. Can you imagine if we get those 5 people like that together? Can you imagine with the teachings of INT? Can we bring...
Pojo Yemade is another one. Pojo Yemade.
Pojo
Oyemade.
Yeah, you see, that's another platform. Do you think those are critical things to do?
Very critical things. That's so it will be a network across boundaries, across so then there are no borders holding us.
And then can we move? Will we be able to move faster if we do that?
Absolutely.
You think so?
Absolutely.
So that's why we need organized righteousness in that form. Thank you.
One thing that Faitine and I did when there was a law passed that refused to protect mothers who were pregnant, and they could be pressured into having an abortion even to the point of abuse. They passed the law to not protect these women. Faitine took her network, I took my network. We got on the phones and talked to key leaders and had thousands of postcards sent to these different churches and all our networks that said, they were in black and said, shocked that the Canadian government won't protect Canadian citizens who are pregnant. Then we sent from these networks all of these postcards and flooded Parliament with them. And they were everywhere and made a huge scene about what we believed was righteousness. So that's an example of where that was just our network. We're young people, so we used them as people power.
Will you sit down now and write down? But you still stand up again until you answer. But write down minimum 5 organizations, like we've heard Professor do now. You write your 5 down. 5 organizations that you think you could partner with. Don't you ever think the world circles around you, or is it what it called, goes around you? Revolves around you. Yeah. The world doesn't revolve around me or around you. It revolves around him. So can we find those 5 organizations, 5 people? All you need to do research about it. But if you are really having the burden, you are supposed to be aware by now of people who are doing similar things in your nation. Because those people will have some contacts that you don't have. They will have some knowledge that you don't have. They will have some understanding that you don't have. And then, you'll be able to bring them in. Now, that doesn't mean they hold you back. The way it works is this, because sometimes we're afraid of, building a relationship with other people because we're thinking they are going another direction, they are holding me back. But in my own organization, they can't hold me back. I'm still doing what I'm doing. I'm still as committed to in my own platform and going at my own speed. But to strengthen the whole general idea of righteousness, I just partner with them in the areas that we can move together. Forward together. Even if they are not moving as far, I'm not going to try to run it the way I run my own organization, but I'm just partnering. So partnering is different from being afraid that, they will not allow me to run my own thing. No, I'm running my own thing the way I want to do it. But partnering is another area that we need to. When children become teenagers, they want to be independent. That's a natural process of growth. And because they are looking for self-identification or they are looking for themselves. So they want to say, no, I am by myself. But what happens when they become like young adults? They are now looking for part. They want to look for a lady. They want to look for a boy. They want to have a family. They want to come together with somebody. Then when they are old, then they want to they want to have family, someone to depend on. So we should be matured. Maturity calls for partnership. That's what I'm trying to say. So the next question, everybody will have to stand up again who have not answered. If you have not answered today, you have to stand up again, please. 1, 2, 3. You are drawing too long. You are supposed to have answered if you don't want to stand. Yeah, you don't want to stand, you should have raised up your hand earlier. Number 6 says, what are the main reasons, the main motives of these people going to politics? Examine yourself. What values and motives are you bringing to society? What values and motives are you bringing to society? What goals are you pursuing? What are the goals and virtues and values you are trying to impose upon your society? Anybody ready to answer that?
What I have here is that the main values that Patrick Henry College was trying to impart to them, to the students, going by the Student Covenant Honor Pledge. Yes. There's a pledge they had to sign once they enter the college. These include temperance, self-control, integrity, chastity, excellence, and also strong leadership qualities, including ability to debate controversial issues and win, and also not lose their moral ground when they are immersed in the society. I thought those are not just teaching them, but also helping them to express it in society. Because it's okay to hear it in church. It's another thing to express it in the society and maintain your position on travel.
Yeah, but that's just the first half of the question.
Yes.
What about the second half of the question?
It says, what are their reasons and main motives for going into politics? I said the vision for Patrick Henry.
No, you did that. The third part of the question.
Examine yourself. Okay.
Yes.
I say here, in my life now, I am pursuing maturity in these values: temperance, self-control, integrity, chastity, and even strong leadership qualities, including perseverance, moderation, and even expressing compassion in a more practical way than just talking about it.
All right, that's your own personal life. That's the first stage.
Yes.
But eventually, the question says, to society, are you trying? What are those values you are trying to bring to the society? And how are you? What is the idea? Is bringing those things not just to yourself but to the society. How are you? Is that the goal? The question. The reason I'm asking the question is that we are not just going to the society to do good stuff, to build a school. We are not going to society just to build hospitals. We are doing those. Hospital is not our goal. Again, you remember, like I said yesterday, that healing to the person is not our goal, even though we heal him. And whatever, it's not our goal to set him free from drugs. Our goal is different. We want to make him a leader. So the same thing here. Our goal is not going to do good to people in the society. Everybody does that. The Red Cross and all that. But what is the message? What is the value? What is the virtue we want to bring to society?
Actually, in the Institute, which is the platform that I have now, there are 3-4 strong values we want to impart to our prospective students, and one of them is integrity. Number 2 is excellence in performance, doing things and doing them very well. Number 3 is compassion in the way we reach out to people. It's about them, not about us. It's It's about helping them. It's about loving them. It's about encouraging them to know that they are more than they think. And most importantly, we expect anyone that leaves the institute to take responsibility. Don't complain about something. Do it. If you see the problem, take responsibility. Take ownership. And those are the 4 key.
Very good. Let's take 2 of them. The first 2 you mentioned, sir, was excellence and integrity. Okay, integrity and excellence. Let's, just to help all of you, can I have 2 people here? Yes. Let's assume these 2 people are graduates of INT.
Yes.
And what you have done is that you've taught them at the school to have integrity.
Yes.
To maintain excellence.
Yes.
You've taught them that.
Yes.
Okay. 2 questions to you and for all of you too. Because I'm trying to think and look deeper.
Yes.
Are you really making sure? Are you really sure those values are being expressed into society? So what are the parameters for you to judge if these people are really not just learning the lesson, and not just because the problem we have with churches in Nigeria and all over the world is that integrity, she might have integrity in her own life as a person, but expressing integrity in the society is a total different ballgame. So he might not steal, he might not lie, he might not sleep around, he has integrity, he might do things excellently. He looks like excellent guy, he's neat and everything. But people people do that in their I am.
Yeah.
They live right like that. In my own workplace, in my own family, everything I touch is excellent. But expressing that and imposing that on society is another ball game. So that is my number 1 question, not to Professor alone, but to all of us. How do we express that? How do we get them to express that? We have done our job well. We have taught them. But we have not done our job successfully until we monitor the fact that they are delivering that.
Pastor Sunday, you spoke to this yesterday. Many times we teach the integrity and excellence. Sure, we take time to go through the material, but many a time is not totally focused on, as you demonstrated yesterday, make sure their hands are not tied to even receive it. We don't dig around to remove the stones and the thorns and everything that could actually limit their absorption of the material. And I can tell you that's where I struggle. For example, I find that one of the ways to express excellence is learning to implement systems. We teach the quality management system in the institute, but I found out that when people leave, they don't know how to apply it. So it's as though they heard it, they were excited about it, but they don't know how to apply it. So you're right that we need to go further. Not just exposing them to those concepts, but actually making sure they begin to use it and it becomes second nature.
Do you think it might be proper for me to show you how I would have, dealt with that?
Yes.
Okay. For example, you've been taught integrity and excellence, and I know them in their church. Himself and his pastor, they teach excellence all the time, integrity all the time. But Lagos has not changed.
Change a little bit. Still much more to change.
Yes. But there are people, the people of their church, they imbibe excellence and integrity. They live like that. But their church is just 5,000, 2,000 people. But there are other churches in Nigeria, in Lagos, let's say Lagos, where they teach the same thing. And those churches have 1 million in Lagos. 2 million in Lagos. One city. I'm flabbergasted. How can you teach 2 million people in one city integrity every Sunday, every week? You are teaching them integrity. Deeper Life, for example, Redeemed churches, Winners Church, they are teaching them writings. But those people, they reduce that. They reduce those values of excellence, integrity. They reduce them into domestic affairs, personal, domestic, holiness, domestic integrity, domestic virtues. That's what they have reduced them to, not societal virtues. Because the pastors don't have the clue of how to train them to express integrity or to express excellence in society. They don't know how to do it. For me, I'm concerned. I don't want you to do the same thing when you go back. If we teach integrity and excellence, and as a church, as an organization, we teach them, and then as an organization, we form an organization like an NGO or a foundation that is going to enforce it. We have one organization that is going to enforce it. It will be the results we just said. Let them know that if I teach you integrity, you don't live right, and you don't practice integrity until you fight lack of integrity. What's the opposite of integrity? Corruption, yeah, dishonesty. Until you fight that vial, you don't have it. Whatsoever you do not resist, you support, you tolerate. You tolerate. That's enforcement. So if you see, let's say I've taught you integrity, but you are driving your car and you see somebody crossing the red light. They don't have red light. What do they have in Nigeria? Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Zebra crossing.
Okay, throwing paper, that's more popular. They do that. Littering, yes. They take paper and throw, and you and your car, you saw it. And somebody just went and threw paper in the street, littering the place, or just put toilet water and draw, and you saw it. If you don't park your car, you don't go to address the issue and say, no, that shouldn't be done. You are actually closing your eyes, or you are looking somewhere else. You know what you have just done? You have not practiced integrity. You understand what I'm trying to say? You have not practiced integrity. You know what you have practiced? You have just practiced tolerance. And whatever we tolerate dominates us and rules us. Yes. We comply with whatever we tolerate.
It's compromise.
That's compromise. And when you tolerate anything, that thing sits on your head eventually. It dominates you later on. That is why. You know what is dominating Lagos? Corruption, lack of order, chaos. Because those are the things we tolerate. You don't do it, but you tolerate it. And because you tolerate it, anything you tolerate dominates you. That's why those things rule and dominate. In America, for example, you do something wrong, the next guy that is coming, they just call police.
911.
Yeah, maybe not 911. I don't know if it's 911. Is it 911 they call? Yeah, they call 911 and say that person has just sped or broken the speed limit.
Yeah.
That is the number of the guy.
He's changing lanes.
And the Ukrainians who live in America, they have an opinion about that. I don't know if Nigerians or Americans, not American, maybe Nigerians do, but Ukrainians do. You know what Ukrainians call that? The Ukrainians call that, there is something, Russians, Ukrainians, no, stukash. Как это сказать? it is only a practice that was during communism here. You know, during communism, they had spies. So they have a spy to every fourth or third person. So if you have your family members, squealer,
informer,
stooler, squealer, informer. Yeah. Informant.
Yes, they call
Snitch. Yeah. But whistleblower is a positive thing. You know, even
not whistleblower, it's more like a squealer.
It's more like a squealer.
Or an informer.
A snitch. But informer too, it looks positive because it's like he's doing his job. But here,
like a spy.
Like spy also could look like a job. But here, was the worst thing you could ever be. You are a betrayer. You are a betrayer. You are somebody. A traitor. You are a traitor. The way it looks like this, can you imagine? You have your wife. They will get wife to inform on the husband. They will get children to inform on the parents. Of course, it's not good. It's horrible. It's betrayal. It's selling the most precious people in your life. It's killing other people. And what happens next time is that somebody will just come to your house, whisk away your father or your mother, and your brothers will not know that it's one of your brothers that have done that. Because they have other names as an informant, and nobody will know. So in America, when Russian people get to America, anybody who calls that you broke the speed limit or you crossed lane or something, Americans say, Ukrainians and Russians in America, they hate Americans. They say, this American will not have anything to do with it. They are traitors. They are betrayers. They are people who
snitch or squeal.
Who squeal.
Yeah.
Yes, or
Snitch.
Tell on. Yes, snitch they call them. Yes, they are snitch people. The people who snitch on other people, we hate them. But this is not snitching. Until we receive this culture of being a whistleblower. That's the best word for it. Enforcers of righteousness. Very good. Until we become enforcers of righteousness, we tolerate in our own righteousness. So, yes, I will finish first. So, that is important. So, if I teach integrity and I say you do it, and at workplace, in all offices, all Christians are everywhere. So, only when that 1 million, even it doesn't have to be 1 million, 10,000 or even 1,000 members that I have in my church. If I have 1,000 church in Ukraine, in Lagos, you will see all Lagos will be in trouble. 1,000 is enough. Because all the 1,000 are causing trouble. I will have all of them to register organization. I will have all of them to go to their local police people and their enforcement agencies they have, different NEFA or NEFMA or something. I will have them to say, we are going to let's sign a contract with you. Our people will be volunteers, informers, whistleblowers. Give us your card. Give us a card so that we will stop. That's what the government is supposed to do, to recruit righteous citizens, good citizens who will use these cards to inform, to go and say, you cannot litter that place. They have just cleaned this place up. They have just planted the greens and lawns. You cannot go and sit down there and urinate. You cannot, go and do that. Who are you? I can say, look, I represent this organization. We are going to arrest you. Give me your name. Then I'm going to call police. You can't go anywhere. That is the only way righteousness can be enforced. I don't know if you get it.
Of course, absolutely.
So your church is too big to change Lagos.
What you just said now is just even challenge me more.
Somebody raise up. You raise up your hand. Somebody else.
I did. The question I have is, that actually exists in the U.S. on some level. Some people do it. A part of the problem is that law enforcement or even in corporate America, I'll just use this example because it happened right before I came. Law enforcement will get people to snitch or to be informers who maybe they have a criminal record, maybe they're looking to escape, so they pay them off.
Yeah, that is snitching, right?
To set up somebody
Yes.
else that actually hasn't committed a crime
Yes.
and bring false charges.
Yes.
So how
that is the bad thing. And that is what the Russians did. But we're talking about the righteous one now. Just general citizens. Because the snitching one, you get people to pay them or to inform them to get something for it. But I'm just talking about general citizens. So the one I'm advocating for is what happens in America when just a neighbor, just anybody, you don't need to, nobody needs to pay you for it. Nobody needs to have an agreement with it.
Neighborhood watch.
Neighborhood watch or something like that. Just when anybody could just know that anything that is wrong, we are not tolerating it. And then you're coming to cross-check it and verify and use law. You cannot prosecute that person until it is confirmed that it is wrong. But there will be people who abuse things like the Russians did. Like the Russians will come and snoosh or snitch on their relatives or something like that. But we are not talking on that sense now. I'm just talking about in the sense of general awareness in the community and in the country. Like there is a proverb that says it takes a village to raise a child. That kind of concept I'm talking about. When everybody is saying no, don't do that wrong thing. We had that in Yoruba land, in our own Nigeria when we were growing up.
So Pastor Sunday, this attitude, let me mind my own business.
That is what is killing all of us.
That's it. Just to buttress the point, even in America, there are two Americas in that sense. If you go to the suburbs, and the more educated whites and all that, you will see this going on, calling and all that. But if you start moving towards the inner city. In fact, it's a crime to snitch. In fact, the rap people, they put it in their raps. Abuse people that
snitching is true. But what about being a whistleblower?
No, that's what I mean is that even the positive one, for example,
the positive one.
Yeah, they kill someone. Yeah. You know who killed the person, but everybody there will be silent. The police will come, they won't say anything.
But that's the culture of impunity. Exactly. That is the culture that we want to change.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying.
We want to be righteous because anything that is in darkness.
Yes.
God doesn't have anything to do with it.
Exactly.
He said that the light has come into the world, and the children of darkness, they run away from light because their deeds are dark, are evil. Anything that wants to hide is having something to do with evil.
Yes.
But the light, righteousness, doesn't run away from light. It goes to light because their deeds are righteous.
Yeah. And so what I'm saying is that you now look at the two different neighborhoods. You will see that in the places where people call and all that,
where they enforce righteousness, there is growth.
The lifestyle, there's growth.
Yes, there is development. There is advancement. And in other places, it's down. Yeah, so that's the way it works.
So what you are telling us now, because I'm trying to take it back to the institute. Yes.
I'm trying
to take it back to the institute because I know the other day I was taking a walk. Sometimes you can't help it. Because there are things you see in the system that can be corrected easily. And Nigerians are easy to rule, sir. I was taking a walk down the street, around the market. These people that sweep, the women suffer, they sweep every day. This woman has finished sweeping and going back. And another man standing there, just finished drinking water as I was passing. And the way they just leave it, let it fall, the sachet of water. That thing just shook me because somebody just swept. And I couldn't help it. I turned. I touched him. I said, Oga, why on the floor?
Which kind of Oga? You are even honoring himself.
I said,
to make it easy for him to
provide them. The trash can provide them. And do you know what he said? He said, madam, sorry. I wasn't thinking.
But you help him think now.
Now, so see if everybody, it's easy. It's just that we don't know to
Кажи пастору Боже, що є моє це саме кутку, це чорне. На четвертому етажі. Okay, let me tell you another way we used to enforce it here. You know, we have all these social organizations in our country, in our church, NGOs and something like that. You know, one of the duties of all of them, not just the leader, but even a member of NGOs or social organizations, one of the things we teach them to do is to go about with their card, with their ID card, with their ID cards. And when you hear, it's not a government thing, but just being society, civil society member. You just show them, I'm a member of this civil society, and we are not going to allow this thing. Even that has effect. That's what we have discovered. People fear that just because you are coming with your own ID card. People are always thinking, maybe you have connection with government, maybe you have. So if I were in Lagos, I will get my people to either have their own NGOs or to be Institute of National Transformation, to have cards and say, I am. That I am a member of this movement, the Institute for National Transformation. We are transforming Nigeria, and you are doing this. We are going to put you in jail. It will begin to be. No, sir. I will not do that anymore. That's the one to enforce. So I will have all of them to join one group or the other, but they must have their cards, and then they must use it to enforce order and righteousness.
Can I give you this? What happened to me in Kampala, Uganda recently? I was flying from Kampala to Nairobi, and it was Kenya Airways. So I came to the security checkpoint, I queued, and you know, in Kampala, many UN forces, if you will, from different nations, they have a big camp in Kampala, in Entebbe actually. So here was a German military officer, three of them in front of me, and others waiting to go through the security system. And this man walked leisurely, came in, went straight, bypassed everybody, and
big man, African big man. So
when I saw that, you can see I became livid. And I think he saw my face, so he didn't cut in front of me. He waited until the military officers had passed. I went through security, then he cut in. As he cut in, I turned around. I said, "Sir, why did you jump the line?" Everybody was watching me. Even the Kenya Airways people were watching me. I said, "Why did you jump the line?" He says, "Well, I was here before." I said, "No, I saw you came in." He said, "But it's not your business." I said, "It is." I said, "It's people like you that give Africa a bad name. Go to the line." And I turned to Kenya Airways officials and say, "And you are the ones that tolerate this nonsense." Do you know, when I finished, the German officer came to me and tapped me. Said, "Thank you, law enforcer."
Enforcer of righteousness, right? The people are waiting for somebody to do it.
Yeah. Pastor, 2 days ago, one of your drivers took me to go get some money. And as we were driving... Listen. As we were driving, there was a woman passed out. I thought she was dead. In the gutter on the street, arm in the gutter, dirty looking. And if it was my country, I would have had an immediate reaction to jump out. But for whatever reason, for a split second, the thought to me was, it's not my business, I'm not in my country, I don't know what the situation is. By the time it took for me to have that split second thought of, it's not my business, the driver was already out of the car, reaching down, picking this woman up, and setting her straight. And I was so ashamed that for that...
You are the pastor.
Yeah.
You are the holy man of God.
For that second, I had a thought of irresponsibility. For a second.
Very good. So, well, I think you are catching the idea.
Yes.
So, if we can preach anything we want in church, in schools, we can preach anything we want. If you cannot get it down to the street, if you cannot get it right down there and make people to live it, we are just entertainers. But this is not just talking about those values he mentioned. I'm just using his example. Exactly. But when you look at that film, they were enforcing another thing, the politics. And they left the classrooms. You see that? Yeah, they were campaigning. They were getting involved. They were looking. That is the way to make virtues become reality. That is conversion. Okay, thank you. The people who are standing up, do you want to sit today? You sat without permission. No, you didn't answer yet. You didn't answer. Only people who answer should sit. But you saw others standing up. If you are not going to answer, you're going to stand up the whole day. I understand what that means.
Is there still a place of wisdom?
Oh yeah.
In deciding when and when not to speak. And can you touch on that?
Well, I would rather prefer to speak everywhere than to put in the wisdom factor.
Yeah.
Because if I put in that wisdom factor, everybody is going to get hung on that one. And the only excuse would be why they are not doing it is because it's not the appropriate place, it's not the proper place, and we have to use wisdom.
Becomes an excuse.
So I would rather be out of order and be violent for the right thing, right, for righteousness, than to be in order and condone. And yeah.
And I think if you do it out of order and there is somebody there, they will let you know that, well, in this place probably this is how things are done. So, and then from there you will kind of know, like, when
I can always apologize, but they must see my heart, that I meant well.
Yeah, I was just going to comment on that. So, let me from example, because I always speak out. I've always done, but I find that sometimes that creates a barrier to be able to speak out more. So what I've been doing, especially at work, is asking God for wisdom, how to convey my message so that I don't shut down the barrier completely. Because, so I don't know.
Yeah, well, you allow Holy Spirit to lead you. I might not know the particular situation, but, we will all have the wisdom. But let's get the people out first. Then we'll deal with the rest later on. Okay, the next question. Okay, no, I will not go. No, don't let me do that. I will not go into all the questions, all the details of the questions. But okay. I'm going to have mercy on you people that are sitting, but next time be active to talk. All right. Then let's sit down.
Thank you.
Watch yourself. Anybody has any question from the film? Any question from the film? Right.
Not from the film. From the last discussion.
Okay.
In England, in London, we have this youth problem. And the problem is, generally in London, we know that all the youth are very rude. They don't listen to anyone.
Stabbing each other.
They're stabbing each other. And sometimes when the youth are beating each other on the streets, most of the time, everybody walks past them. Even if they see them stabbing each other, people just walk past them all the time. And this has been a great burden in my
Well, I will not advise you to run into the middle of people stabbing each other. But at least I will expect you to call the police. Maybe that might be the wisdom.
Yeah, call the police. Okay. But what about this scenario? What about sometimes telling them, I mean, if they are not doing it, that's not when they are when they are stabbing each other. I'm talking about, for example,
Generally, when they are misbehaving.
I was going somewhere, I took a bus, and I was in the bus, and this teenager was cursing this 60-year-old man, and everybody in the bus were just looking. So I stood up, I said, why are you cursing the man? What did the man do to you? What's your problem? So I told the girl off, and then everybody now said thank you. But the point that I'm trying to raise is, why is it that even we Christians, even when we're in that scenario, we don't say anything? And also some people have been telling me that I shouldn't be saying anything, I should keep my mouth shut. I don't feel that it is right.
They want you to become like them.
Yeah, I don't feel it is right to keep my mouth shut when somebody is doing something wrong.
Well, thank God for your boldness and thank God for your strength of character. That was the time I came to Nigeria. I think it was, I spoke about moral courage. Somewhere I spoke about moral courage. You know, you need moral courage to be able to stand up. And that is another thing we need to teach and enforce. Or maybe it was not your place, but somewhere I spoke about moral courage. And moral courage is necessary. And I even remember when I spoke about that moral courage, somebody told me that, oh, it was all right. Pastor John's, what do you call it, apostles?
In the marketplace.
Yeah, that was where I spoke about it. Maybe you need to get that message. Moral courage is what makes you to do what you are talking about now. Not to be afraid of public opinion, not to be intimidated. Righteousness, for righteousness to be affirmed or declared over a society, moral courage is a necessity. Moral courage. You need to be strong morally. You need to have courage to stand for righteousness. So that might be another thing we might need to talk about. Moral courage. All right. Will you tell us the name of the class?
Yeah. The case for systems. The case for systems.
I want to make a biblical case for systems. Yeah? What, sorry? Okay. The reason is because this whole week we have spoken and deliberated and had a lot of presentations about systems and the fact that we all need to go systematic. We need to be systemic. We need to be systemic in our approach, in our building church, our building ministry, our building movement. So this whole History Makers second stage is to make all of us experts in system building. Yes. And I think we have done a good job. But that's not all yet. In the afternoon, we only have one seminar, and it will be based on that. Yes. Someone who has done it, and they will take you again. But we have seen the demonstration of it this week. We have seen the demonstration through the ministry of Pastor Sergei. We have seen the demonstration through the ministry of Pastor Derek. We have seen the demonstration through the ministry of Pastor Alexander. We have seen the demonstration through the ministry of Pastor Lan. We have seen the demonstration through the ministry of Pastor Anibogu. And we have seen it through the ministry of, who was yesterday? Alex. Was it Alexander? Was the other day? Right? Okay. Andrew Belanoshka. Okay. So, very big people just. So, the case for systems. Is it biblical to try to say we must do everything in a systemic way and apply system and order and be organized and things like that? Is it not carnal? Many people would think it's carnal, or many people would think it's trying to do things in the flesh. People have accused me. Okay, in Ukraine here, for example, people have said, yes, they have a big church, but it's not the Holy Spirit doing it. It's just that the guy is smart and he's using PR and he's using management skills, and it's not the Holy Ghost doing it. He was supposed to be saying blood of Jesus. That was it. But he's not saying blood of Jesus all the time. He's using strategy, he's teaching people skills. It is skills that anybody can do that. Well, why don't you just do it? At least do it, use skills and PR, and then get people to come to the kingdom. Do it, everybody can do it. Go ahead and do it. Maybe some people will think like that and accuse you when you begin to underemphasize over spirituality, and you begin to emphasize systems, skills, and things, principles. People might begin to think you are not spiritual. So I want to make a case for system. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26 and 27. Can we read it? Just the Bible, Pastor. Then God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea, and the bird of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth. Let them rule over all the earth. I like that. Over all the earth. And over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them. I'm speaking today on the topic, let us, what do you call Troy Toshi? What do you call multiple dots? Huh? Yeah, just like you don't when we are not finishing a statement, you are dot in front. Continuous dots, right? Your 3 dots. Put 3 dots. Let us 3 dots. Then write let them 3 dots.
Ellipsis.
Lapses.
Ellipsis.
Ellipsis. Okay. Put ellipsis. Let us 3 dots. That's ellipsis. Let them ellipsis. And in quote, put all that in quote. I see a major revelation in this scripture. In this verse, God clearly separates. It's very important for you to get this. In that statement, let us, God is making it clear to us that there are things on earth that God is responsible for. On one hand. And on the other hand, what is the other hand? Who will tell me what is on the other hand? You are very smart. You are very smart. There are things on one hand that God, only God, is responsible for. But there are also, he wants us to understand, and this is what the Jews in the Old Testament didn't understand. That is what Israel, the Israelites didn't understand. Because the Israelites used to think that everything that happened to them was from who? Was from God. They didn't know this fact. They didn't know this revelation. He says, let us do certain things. That's why I say put the ellipse. Let us, God, on his own side, has his own responsibility. That let us do ta 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 ta. But after we have finished doing our own, we hand over the rest. We hand over the rest of it. Then let them. Let you. That looks very simple, but it's very profound. Until we understand that there is a division of labor between man and God. Until we understand that on earth, God is limited. He's limited by the division itself. He's limited by the fact that he himself has designated to himself his own duty, and what he is supposed to do we can never do, and what we are supposed to do he will not do, not because he cannot do, but because he has withdrawn his responsibility. He has withdrawn himself from that aspect of work and wants us to do it. So Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, God says, let us ta 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 ta, and then let them. Let them. So verse 26a, God clearly defines his function and responsibility. Yes, the first part of verse 26. In regards to man, what did he say? Let us. Let us make man in our image, according to our likeness. Then he said, let them. He stopped there. So let's examine God's responsibility on earth. What is God's responsibility on the surface of the earth? Number one, creation. Creation of man. God sends you to this world. Nobody comes to this world according to his own by his own volition. God is responsible for me being here. God is responsible for you being here. We are made by him. So that means we must depend on him. If we come from him, we must rely on him to survive. So that is telling me that if the fish is coming from the river, it needs river to sustain it. For what will happen to a fish that comes from that river and it says, no, I'm tired of that river, I want to be independent, let me go and play on the asphalt, on the cement, on the concrete? Huh? Are you sure? So anytime we declare our own independence from our source,
we shrivel up and die.
The same thing happens to us. You cannot be that fish that says, no, I want to get out of the pond, let me go and jump down. You cannot do, but the interesting thing though is that fish doesn't die when it jumps on that ground. It bounces. The same thing happens to us sometimes. When we come out of relationship with God, sometimes we become even more active. We begin to bounce and say, oh wow, it's fun, so much fun. But that thing will not last. That fish that is jumping on that as far, he's actually dying. Behind those actions is the size of death. Even though, now I will tell you another thing. Even though the action and the bouncing on the ground is more violent, is more active than when it was in that river. Yeah. Because when it's in the field, just slow, he says it's not interesting. Yeah, it's too mellow, too slow, too slow and steady. It's too. I want action, You remember, I see the animals running about. I see the birds. Sometimes that's what we do. I'm serious. That's what happens to us. That's what happens. So when he gets to he also begins to. But if he survives it for 5 minutes, he's a hero. But even if he survives it for 5 minutes, he will not do it for 15 minutes. Then later on, he will just lie down like that. Less life than in the water. And less action, less movement than in the water. And the next you see, it's no more breathing. So we cannot go into the ministry and run away with the ministry and say, well, I can be independent. We cannot do it. We cannot go into the world and just be everything that is made by God must be sustained by Him. Anything that we come from is what sustains us. The reason why, even though I'm guilty of this, but I'm trying now. My wife is doing a good job. The reason why the best food we could ever eat is natural food. The more raw the food is, or the closer the food is to the ground, the healthier we become. You know why? Because we are made from the soil, from the dirt. So the food that keeps you healthier or healthiest are the food that are the closer, the less it is distance from the dirt, the less it is distance from the nature, the more beneficial it is to you. But the ones that have been processed, they even forgot that they are from the ground. You don't even see any sign of nature in it. The faster it kills you. I don't know if you get what I'm saying. So because anything is made from, just like that fish, that's what sustains it. The reason why that fish cannot live in the sun is because it's not the sun that made it. It's coming from the water. That's what's sustained by water. It's just like the tree now. Any tree or the plant. If you take any plant and put it in the room, so how many of you know that even though we put plants in the house, in the room, but we always put something inside? What do we put inside? Inside the soil or sand, soil. Why soil? Why not just put it there by itself? Why should I waste my time and put sand inside? Why? That's the source. Soil is the source of any plant. Anything we come out from, we have to be sustained. Anything something comes out from is the thing that will sustain that thing. If you don't keep relationship from whatever you come from, you cannot be sustained. You will fade away and die eventually. For example, this thing, it looks like clothes and all that. If I just say, this thing has torn now, if this thing tears here, and I just say, oh, I don't want it to tear again, let me go and put metal. It will not sustain it. Metal will tear you even more. Or plastic. If I want to repair it, I have to put the same material, or the same, they lose the same, and then it's sustained. It keeps on going on. So anything something comes from, that nature, it has to keep on being in there. So that's important. That is the reason why we pray. That is the reason why we worship. That is the reason why we fast. That is the reason why we read the Bible. But Christians who don't understand this, you know what they say? Have you ever heard Christians say, we are made to worship God? Have anybody ever heard that? Or maybe you have preached that. But it's not true. We are not made to worship God. And when I say that here, some Christians don't understand, but they don't listen to them. They just say, oh, wow, how can they say that's blasphemy? That is, sacrilegious, or what do you call it?
Yeah, sacrilegious.
Sacrilegious, what I'm saying. But no, God didn't make you for fellowship. He made us for fellowship. That's what He said. He made us for fellowship. No, He didn't make you just for fellowship. He made you. He said it himself. He didn't make a mistake. He didn't mention fellowship there. He said, have dominion over this, rule this, over the rivers, over the fish, over. That's what He made you for. That's what He said. But how come? Why do we need fellowship? Because if you don't of sustenance, fellowship, worship, prayer, word of God, relationship with Him. That is your own means of sustenance. That is your own way of existence. That's the only way to keep yourself alive, my dear. It's not that they made you for that. That is just the atmosphere where you could live. It's the atmosphere where you could survive. I don't know if you are getting it. It is your necessity for life. You understand now? So it's not that God made you for that. No, God is not selfish. He had an assignment for you. But you need fellowship. You need it. It's not that if you don't fellowship with God, God will get annoyed. Or God will get mad and say, oh, he has let me, I am angry at you. No. It's you who suffer.
Yeah.
You need him. He doesn't need you. You need him. It's not that, oh, well, he's not worshiping me. I made you to worship him. Just sit down here and worship me. Yeah, but worshiping him is obeying him. So you are really worshiping God by going to do what he said you should do. Yes. When he says go and have dominion over the fish of the river, over the sea, over the animals, over the whole earth, when you go to obey him and you go to bring his dominion, you bring his glory there, that is the best way to worship. Not when you are singing. You are singing, it means to awaken your spirit. And it means to cause his spirit to rub off with your spirit. But real worship that he wants is when you subdue the earth under his feet. And when you bring his glory to all other places. When you make his righteousness and his virtues and his principles to rule over all. That is the greatest act of worship. For example, that's what the point Jesus was trying to make with that story of Samaritan woman. It's a man, the good Samaritan. He says, the Levite, who was supposed to be the worshiper, he didn't worship because he went to sing in church. That was not worship. But he passed by my creation. He bypassed the needy. The Samaritan who stopped and took care of the needy brought my glory, brought my virtue, my heart, my kindness, my love. That is the person who worshipped right there. He didn't go to church. That Samaritan didn't end up in church, He was not even going to church, but he worshipped. And his sacrifice was accepted for them. Even the priest who passed by to go and worship in church and then preach, he still didn't worship. God said he didn't accept their sacrifice. That he didn't regard that as worship. Worship is what we do to affirm his will, his glory, to obey him, to bring his image down to the earth. That is the way we worship. We worship God truly. So God created us, so we must be connected to him. Number two thing God did, defined as his function, he said, let us. You remember he said, let us. Then he said, let them. So let us, it means we come from him. He made me. That should be all about our concern, my brothers and sisters. He is our source. That's why in our church here, I don't want to have anything to do with any member of my church who doesn't do along with God, who doesn't make God priority. I don't want to have. I don't even take them in my ministry. I don't even regard them. Let's make him our priority, our life, our source, our everything. Forget about ministry if you will not make him your love. So I challenge you, don't be missing your time along with God. Even if it's going to be 1 day a week you want to be doing it, or 3 days a month or something, make sure you find time to prove to him it's your life, it's your priority. I come from him. I cannot survive without him. He's my source. He's my sustainer. And I must prove that to him. I must go as close to him as possible all the time. So that's number one thing. God said, let us. He's my source. He wants to be our source. And he wants us to know that. So man cannot sustain himself. Man cannot be his own source. Man cannot be his own creator. That will never happen. No matter how much medicine we develop, no matter how much progress we have, we will never become our own source. That's the only thing God can do. We cannot sustain ourselves. This is not just for church people. This is for everybody. This is God's duty. He's our source and our sustainer, the sustainer of our life. That's why when the time comes, everybody will die. you cannot sustain yourself beside God when He's giving up on you. Number 2 duty that He says, let us, let them. So what is He doing? Let us. The cube, He says, let us make man in our own image. What does that mean? Number 2, God made man and didn't just make him anyhow, but He equipped him. God equipped man with all necessary power and ability to carry the image of God, to carry His image. Only God can do that. Only God can make us good. What do I mean by image? Or what do I believe God means by made us according to, by His image, in His image? By the image of God, what I believe He's talking about is this. He's saying that we should carry His nature, His qualities, His character, His characteristics, His virtues, and His values. That is what I believe image means. The inner content of God must be my inner content. What is that talking to me about? That is saying God, only God is the source of all good. He is the only one that is good in us. Anything that is good in us comes from Him. And if you want to be better, He's the only one that can make man better. That is why all this scandal all the time in politics, American politics. These are in developed countries where they have, show morality. But without Christ, nobody can really live morally, right? Nobody can carry the image of God without Him. So we need Him. He made us to carry His image. I'm talking of inner qualities now. The image of God. Some people say, what does image of God mean? Not just that we have His Spirit. That's not enough. Yes, His Spirit, but His quality. Don't never forget that. Image of God means I must resemble Him. Why do I love people? Because I'm made in His image. I'm like Him. I must love like He loves. Why am I kind? I'm not because I'm smart or I'm good. No, He made me to be like Him. So every day we must strive to find out how God looks, so that I might learn how I must become, how I should become. So the reason I read the Bible all the time, every day, the reason I do is to find out how does He look, and how can I embed that in myself? How can I make myself become more of His image? We must work on it every day to become more resemblant to Him, to become more of His image daily. So He gave us His image. That's a great honor. It's a huge honor. It's an unbelievable, incredible honor. And we must what do you call that again? We must justify that honor. We must justify that honor of being entrusted with His image. So He made us in His image and in His what? Likeness. Now, people think, I used to think like that sometime before, that His image and likeness means the same thing. That is just synonym. No, they mean different things. So while His image means His inner quality, spirit. He is spirit, I am spirit. He is good, I must be good. He is this, all His good qualities are in me. The likeness is a bit different. That's number 3 point. 3 things God did. Let us. He made us. Then number 2, He gave us His image. Number 3, He gave us His likeness. He put in us, He gave us the ability. Likeness means the ability to function like God. Like God. Like God. To rule and function like Him. Likeness means like Him. Like He rules over the earth and the universe, so that we might rule and manage the peace of the earth that He has given to us also in His name. That we might bring His order, His righteousness to the earth. Likeness. So, first of all, we must embed His qualities inside ourselves. We must personify His person. then that character of his, those qualities of his, we must go and use it to administer the earth for him. To administer the earth for him. So that's why he said now, in that verse 26 further, he says, now let them. So he has given us everything that is needed. He created us, gave us his image, inside for our inside composition. Then he gave us his likeness, so that we might be able to have the ability to manage the earth and rule it like himself. So that's when it now began to say, let them have dominion over the fish, over the bird, over the cattle, and over all the earth, and all the creeping things. So he's saying, so what enables us to have dominion or to have rulership or leadership is it image or likeness? Likeness is likeness. But why do we need image if we only need to, administer and rule? Why do we need image?
To have his character.
Because that's what we
Maybe we could just have the likeness and copy him and just go and rule without his image.
Because we need the character
That's the essence.
and the ability to work together. His character, his values, his compassion, his love that are in his image. And then we need his likeness, the ability, the function, to have dominion. So we need both.
Yes, you are just saying we need both. But what is the reason why we need the image?
Because if we have the function,
the image that we want to impose on.
Good.
Okay.
You don't just want to manage. You must have a model. Not stereotype. What do you call it? A prototype.
Yeah.
He is the perfection.
Yeah.
Let thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. That's the image. I must see the image of how heaven looks like.
Yes.
The image of perfection. It is that image that I'm bringing to imprint upon the earth.
So the image must be our way of life.
Yes. But our way of life must be in accordance. Yes, in his correspondence with his quality or quantity. I mean quality, right?
Quality, yes.
With his essence. With his essence. Anybody want to say something? Yes.
I just want to give an example when Moses went to the
Brilliant.
He was there, and when he came down, the people said they could not watch his face. He came down with power, right? He said that this they came down with power so that
He had an imprint of God on himself. And another thing, the same thing happened with Noah. The same thing happened with Moses. They came with the image of what God wanted from them. So that image was given to Moses for the tabernacle. That image was given to Noah as well for the ark. And also they had the thing we see in the physical, that light, you see, that glory, is just the physical manifestation of what had happened to their spirit man. Yes. So we must carry that too. We must carry the light of God. And it is that light that will dissipate the darkness around. So we need the light to bring, we need the image to bring the light of God, the understanding of God, the essence of God, the values and virtues of God to our world.
What I'm hearing too is actually the deeper we are in God, the more knowledgeable we become. It's impossible to say I had a wonderful time and experience with God and you didn't download the equivalent knowledge and understanding. Is that correct?
To some extent, when you are with God, your spirit is quickened, and God shows you stuff. But unfortunately, between the spirit of God and between your spirit and God's understanding and reality is your mind. So if your mind is not developed, you can't process all the things, even though you are in the presence of God and God is downloading to your spirit. But if your mind is not processed, I mean, it's not what? It's not developed. It's not enlightened. You cannot even understand what God is trying to tell you. For example, I remember, you cannot decode it. I remember I was reading through the history of Redeemed Christian Church of God. And I heard that the man who founded that movement was such a spiritual man. He could pray and fast, and he was seeking the face of God one time. And God showed him the name of the church, the way it's going to be called. But it was written out in English in the vision. So he had to wake up to try to remember and wrote it down, just like drawing, because he didn't know English. So he drew the words down, and it became the Redeemed Christian Church of God. Yeah, something like that. And then he has to describe to people, right? And then he has to ask people, what does it mean? So he couldn't process it. Even though he was paying the price of fasting and praying, he didn't even know what he wrote. So he thought God gave me some revelation to go and stuff. So then when they interpreted it from, it is just a name of it. He said just a name. I said, okay, that's what. So it's just like saying, can I have somebody stand? Yeah, so that you don't sleep, I will need to use you. Okay. So let's say you are the man of God. You pray a lot. You have. Now the question is, if he's praying so much, is he rubbing mind with God or not?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, he is.
Okay. Is God, when rubbing mind with God, his spirit with the Spirit of God, does that give him access to extra information like he said?
Yes.
Oh, yes? Good. Yes. Good. But he's a lawyer. Let's say while he was rubbing mind with God, God gave him an idea or told him J467 RS submarine. Do that for me. Let them. Let any limitation of the mind, let any limitation of the flesh, let any limitation of the spirit, let them hear this. Let them. So I don't know if you are hearing that towards you. If you are hearing that towards your destiny, God has released that word. Let them. So God is saying, one, from my own part, I have released them. Let them. So number one, that's what it means to me. God is saying, you are released. Go function like me. Go carry my image. Go impose my rules and my dominion and my virtues on the earth. And nothing should hold you back. Let them. Number two, it means everything that is needed for me and for you to be all you can be is being released to you. So now nothing is holding you back. Let them. So may your own insecurity never hold you back. Amen. He's saying, don't allow your own fears to hold you back. Let them. Don't allow your own doubts to hold you back. Let them. It means God is saying everything that I need to carry his image, to function like him, to carry his healing power is already in me. Everything that I need, all capabilities to manage and to strive, what do you call it? To function in the thing that he's calling me to function in, to carry out my destiny. He has already put them in. The capability is in me. The potential is in me. Everything that I need to become who he wants me to become, I can now go and do it. Everything is in you. Let them. So if God is saying let them, it means including your fear, they shouldn't stand on your way. Including your doubt, they shouldn't stand on your way. Your lack shouldn't stand on your way. Your insufficiency shouldn't stand on your way. Let them. Amen. Yes. So release yourself. Release yourself from the clutches. I mean, from the clutches of those things holding you back. Release yourself. Set yourself free. God has said, let them, and let yourself too. Number 3 point, what that means to me. let them, for me, in my mind, could also signify the fact that there is already the perfect condition and environment for man, for me, to function and be fulfilled. So don't you wait for a better time in England. Don't you wait for a better time in Switzerland. Don't you wait for a better time in Africa. Now is the day of salvation. Amen. Now is the day of salvation. Now is the time for me to begin to release my destiny. Now is the time for me to begin to impose the will of God and the purpose of God. Now I can begin to already obey Him. I can begin to already bring His will to pass. The condition is ready. The environment is ready. The ground is prepared. Let them. Number 4, right? Number 4, let them to me could also mean that man or I can actually function in the earth without outward intervention, without outward limitations, interventions, or disturbances. So the outward factors that are trying to limit you, just neglect them. Just neglect them. Somebody say, I'm black, that's your problem. It doesn't limit me, it doesn't stand on my way. Somebody say, I don't speak the language very well, that's your problem. I speak it anyhow, I communicate anyway. Even with my accent, I just need to communicate. And I'm doing a good job at it. You who were born with the language and speak it in your mother tongue, you are not having the result I'm having. I don't have limitations. May you not have limitations anymore. Amen. So outward factors are not supposed to stand on your way. That is why even God had to take permission before He come to interfere. Through prayers, we invite Him and we give Him permission. So that also tells me what do you call that? Not celestial. Celestial beings. No. What do you call it? Evil forces coming from the outward world. No, there's a word for it. Protesterone silly. That's Russian.
Extraterrestrial.
Extraterrestrial forces shouldn't. Extraterrestrial forces shouldn't stop me. I don't have. Extraterrestrial forces shouldn't limit me. I shouldn't be afraid of them. If you are ever afraid of Satan, if you are ever afraid of wishes, if you are ever afraid of demons, if you are ever afraid of evil spirits, some demon, I need to bind this, you are wasting your time. You don't know God. You don't know Him. You are wasting. You are an insult to God. You don't believe Him. Let them talk to them. Let them. That same word, that little word, let them, addresses their question, and it puts an end to it. You should just neglect them. I have a book that is called Victorious Despite the Devil. They let him be here and be witness, and as he's witnessing my success, he's going through torture, lamentation, torment. He's being tormented, looking at me and enjoying victory. Let them. If he likes himself, he's about to quit and leave the place so that he doesn't witness my exploits, because it will torture him more. So Satan should be running away from where you are, because he doesn't want to witness and he doesn't want to experience more torture because of your. Let them. Extraterrestrial forces shouldn't be your concern anymore. Do you not focus on demons? Do you not focus on evil forces? Focus on God. And focus on trying to please Him, to function like Him, to bring His glory to the earth, to be in His likeness. Let that be your focus. And you will make the heart of God place with you. You will make Him be proud of you. Don't you focus on the wrong stuff. Focus to carry His image, to be like Him. Focus on trying to please Him and bring His likeness. Don't you focus on saying, no, He's defeated those ones. They are under His feet. It's not your concern. He dealt with that. He pushed you on top. He made that don't push you of them. He said, I saw Satan falling like what? Like lightning. He has fallen, so what's your own concern now? do what you need to do. So that's what he's talking about here. Let them means those extraterrestrial forces shouldn't have anything to. I shouldn't even concern myself with them. God has put them in their place. Let them. He said they are under your feet. Even if you are a toe in that feet, they still under you. Let them also means that there is a territory or an area of dominion that is designated for each person. Let them in their own land of promise. It means that everybody has his own land of promise. Let them means I have my land. Let me. I will not allow you to tell me I don't have a land. I will not allow you to tell me I don't have a promised land. I don't have a calling. I will not allow you to tell me that I don't have a destiny. Let them. Amen. Hey, you ladies, listen closely here. Don't let anybody tell you because you are a woman you don't have destiny. He didn't say let him. He said let who? Them. How many people are in them? One or two and above. So who are they them? They were talking to here.
The man and the woman.
Huh?
The man and the woman.
So did he tell only the man to have dominion?
No.
Did he tell only the man to be leaders, to have rulership and to reign over the earth?
No.
So why are you feeling inferior? Why are you feeling that somebody had to give you permission? Some people tell me my husband didn't allow me. Where did you see that? Yeah, where did you see that in the scripture? Did you see that? I did it. It's a disgrace for me to be telling my wife. My wife was just in somewhere in France, then he was in Russia. It's a disgrace for me to say I don't allow you to go. Who am I? I cannot even imagine that idea can even come to my mind. That thought can even cross my mind. Am I crazy? And the only thing I saw is that our bag is packed. And I said, oh, hello, princess. Are you traveling? Oh, yeah. When? The reason I asked when is that how can I help? She is my partner. She's not just a co-laborer. She is somebody that God commended his work, is the earth into whose hand God commended the earth. Like me. I should be happy that she's fulfilling destiny. Anyway, let them means he's talking about men and women. At the same time, everybody have equal function. In America, people say, well, ladies could be anybody in the church, but they must be under the leadership of a man. Either under the leadership of the husband. So if your husband, if the lady is the one that is called, they say, okay, the husband has to be pastor also alongside or something. No. You go and function in his likeness where God will put you in. Everybody is equal. Anything God said, let them at the same time, them.
What about Ephesians verses?
I was about to say.
That is in the home. So it doesn't mean, it didn't say man is the head of woman. That's very important. It didn't say man is the head of woman. Because if he had said man is the head of woman, it means you, who is even a total stranger to my wife, will be the head of my wife. It will mean that every man becomes automatic head of every woman. If that is what God has said. But he said husband, which means I am the head of my own family, in my own house. Your husband is only the head of you, of yours, but he is not your head because he's sitting beside you, or because he walks with you, or because he sees you in the street. Not every man is your head. Are you understanding? So man is not like that. The head of man is a husband. I don't know if you get that. It's talking about home affairs. Yes.
I think our question was towards the aspect of not even your husband can stop you from fulfilling what.
Oh yeah.
So she's asking, isn't the husband the head? So what's the relationship?
Oh, it's the head is talking about home affairs. Again, domestic. But it's not saying the husband, I'm the head of my wife. in relations to the will of God, or to the commands of God. So is the head of every person, every man or woman is Christ.
Yeah.
So I am submitted to Christ. She is submitted to Christ. God is, and we are all submitted to God. So my wife I cannot tell my wife, because I am the head of my home, of my wife, so you cannot worship God. If I tell her, you cannot worship God because I'm your head, you must listen to me, she will go to hell, and God will not blame him for it. God will blame her for it. Because my headship doesn't mean I'm alone. Head is talking about the order in the house, but lordship, only God owns it. It is still God that is the Lord of everybody. So she doesn't belong to me as a property. I don't own her. She's the daughter of God. If that is why in Peter chapter 3, he's saying that, even telling husbands, he said, you husband, you must relate to her as a co-heir or as a daughter of God. That co-heir means as daughter of God. So joint heir. So that doesn't mean that she becomes your property. She didn't become your property. She's a joint heir with you. The same as you. The same. Just like you are here of God, she is also here, joint here. So treat her like that. If you don't treat her like that, your prayers will not be answered. You will have hindrance in prayer. So you must treat her as equal, and you must treat her not as your property, but as his property, as his daughter. I don't know. Is that the question you were trying to? Is that the question you were trying to ask? Yes.
Yeah. I think it's better we solve some issues here. What would that be the case of, like what Paul was saying, the issue of unbelieving husband and unbelieving wife?
Yes. It's the same thing.
So but how we as Christians, people having this revelation and knowledge, how are we going to be able to handle such situations that will not create, maybe lead to a divorce or some issues in the home?
Your focus should not be divorce or not divorce. Your focus should be to please God. If you begin to put divorce or no divorce as the home, then that's your value. That's your God. That's your idol. So to keep family together is your idol. So it means that's what you are going to worship. You try to keep that family together and abandon God, you go to hell. But your focus should be to please the God of creation, the one who created you before we met the man. Who is the man? You just met him the other day. But he gave birth to you. He put you in your owner before the man came into your life. So you must. The Bible says even the government commanded them not to preach in the name of Christ anymore. Not to say, they said, we prohibit you by the law even. They say, who are we to obey? You judge by yourself. Are you crazy? You judge. That's what they're trying to tell them. Are you crazy? You judge yourself. You judge, or you say elders and you government, you parliament, think with your own head. Who should we obey? The commandment of God or man? The same applies to family. So because you say you are my husband, you are leaning down for me to marry you, and now I marry you, you are saying I cannot do something. Kick him out of that house. Give him some dirty slap and let him go running. Because I don't know how you ladies, I don't know how they got your attention. I don't know how did you get your husband to marry you? Did he marry you and say, "Go, come and be my slave. Anything I tell you, you must do, and you must be obedient to me. If without my permission, you shouldn't do anything." Is that how you got to marry him? No. The way you got to marry him is just say, "No, I love you. You are the prettiest. You are the most beautiful. I go on my knees. You are my something." So if he did that to get your attention, to get you to marry him, why should that change? I don't understand why that should change. That should never change.
Church mindset.
No. I don't care for church mindset.
Tradition.
I don't care for tradition. That should remain. That should remain. So even I will go beyond. I will even say something now. If you as husband, let me say that way. You wives, if your husband coerces you to marry him by honoring you, respecting you, saying you are beautiful, and what do you call chasing you? Is that chasing you call it? You know, or wooing you. He wooed you and he won your heart. And now that you are married, he's now telling you, he's now become a dictator over you. Thank God, you don't need to obey it, maybe now. It's just an advice. But if you have been in my church, that's what I told my members. You know, that man is a crook and a liar. He's a crook, and you don't have responsibility to him anymore. If he's such wicked, if he's that wicked, he must continue to honor you. He must continue to respect you. He must continue to, reverend you, that you are an equal partner. You are not a slave to nobody. He didn't tell you, that was not the deal you entered into. He didn't tell you to come and be his slave. Nobody, no woman would have agreed to that. Yeah. So, respect God more. God's opinion, God's principles, God's standards applies to everybody across the board, Christians or no Christians. But I don't know if
I have a question to ask. Yes. I got the point of what you're saying. The implementation is the problem, for me now, because I get emotional when things like that happen, because it happens to me, to be honest. I get emotional about it. I get angry. I get upset. So the challenge for me is to be able to present what you have said and do it and function that way and not be angry and get upset.
Function what way?
That's, go home, go ahead, implement the kingdom principles that I know that God expects of me to do, regardless of what he's got to say. And still do that, not dropping the character of Christ in one corner and just...
okay, now I get it.
Yeah.
No, but the Bible also talks about, that was talking to man, but talking to the lady, the Bible also says that you women, you should win him over if you have an unbelieving husband or something, through your shasta's behavior, manners, and, so you must also have the example of Christ's character, the image, that image part. You must carry that to show the example of the fruits of the Spirit, that you are a Christian, that you are born again. But that doesn't mean to be subservient and to become, to lose your personality.
This is a big area to get into, and we wouldn't even exhaust it today.
Yeah. I don't even want to get into it, but that's not my topic.
That's right, and that's why I think that there's a need to actually come back for a retreat.
Family retreat,
on this issue. Because the truth of the matter is that many of us have the wrong foundation, both men and female. Many married because I'm getting too old, with all kinds of reasons other than having discovered who I am, why I exist, and looking for a partner with whom I will now work to fulfill God's purpose. Many of us do not marry to fulfill God's purpose. We marry for other reasons. But while in that marriage, we suddenly realize that, hey, there is a God. Okay, you have realized it, but your partner has not realized it. So there's now a readjustment process. So many of us entered into marriage under those conditions. I mean, don't just go tomorrow and tell your husband, your husband or your spouse. There has to be a season of transition. So Pastor Sunday, I want to really plead with you. Let's go ahead and schedule it. Many of us have found ourselves in some kind of uneven ground concerning marriage in God. Otherwise, I don't think we will exhaust it here.
Can you write it down?
Yes.
So that
Yes, Pastor. Just, I don't intend to draw us back, but like the example you gave that, you just saw your wife packing, and you said, where are you going? And you said, Europe.
Yeah.
And you said,
to France.
France. How do we balance that with unity, planning, and accountability? How does that obstruct the family? I can't even imagine myself sparking one morning, and that's when my wife will get to know I'm traveling, or my children.
Fire will fall.
She said she doesn't care though. She said she doesn't care. Anyway, I got
Imagine
you.
myself
Yeah.
doing it. How does that affect planning? Assuming and flow exactly.
Okay, very good.
Maybe
In the case with my wife, this is coming out of relationship and out of trust. And out of many years of trust, absolute trust, understanding, faith. Maybe she has mentioned it to me one time. Maybe I didn't remember. Maybe, she just needed to go. I mean, she needs to do what she needs to do. I need to do what I need to do. Just let her know for us to. But she's planned it. She must have planned it a month or 2 months or 3 months before then. She must have put everything in place. I trust her. I don't need to question her if she has done that or not. I know she has done that. And I just need to, if I don't know about it, I just need to tell her what I don't know. She'll let me know. I just need to support her. What do I need to do to help you? Is everything okay? Do you want to do, anything like that? And it just, wonderful. The way we are living, it doesn't bring that to question at all that I'm traveling or she's traveling or anything, want to do anything. The point I'm trying to make is not that particular example. The point I'm trying to make is that each person still remains a personality in God that is focused on fulfilling and pleasing God. And but also in real harmony, in tandem with each other. In our own situation, it depends on how the relationship has been born together. I think that's the question. I don't know if I answered it. Yeah.
I'm just thinking about a situation if you feel in your heart you want to say give $1,000 to something,
Yeah.
and then you go to your spouse and you say, oh really, as a husband you should go and say I really want to give this, and she says, well no, that's too much, and she opposes that. Do you then go into a situation where you say you need unity to see that happen, or do you go into a situation and say, well I'm the head of the home, so I will do that?
Oh, we have that happen all the time. just last week, some people were wedding in the church, and I said we should give certain amount of money because I just feel like I'm the type that if I'm not put under control, under check, we won't have anything by now.
Hallelujah.
So I said, let's give this amount of money to that family. So I sent somebody to my wife, Princess, please give that amount. The next day, the person came back to me, and what did the person say? The person said, we don't have it. Okay. So the person said, what should we do? I said, we don't have it, means we don't have it. I don't argue. If I really feel strong about it, I could say, Princess, please help me find it. Let's look for where we could find it. Or sometimes she will come back to me and say, tell Pastor to tell me where to take the money from.
But if you do have the money and you just disagree as if you should...
No, normally we have the money, but we cannot afford it. Different.
Oh, okay.
It means it has been designated for something else. So that's why she will tell me, let Pastor tell her where should, because the things we have is been planned out for different things. So where should I take this from? From what article? From what direction? It's not into plan. It's not in order.
Budget.
From which budget? Yes. So if I could come out with an answer, then she agrees. But if I cannot come out with an answer, I have to agree that it's not working out. So in that situation, what she did was, she had told me, no way, we don't have the money, and I couldn't think of where to get it, so I just had to agree. So then the day of the wedding, she made a surprise. So she had some amount, not the same amount I asked for, a little less amount, but she said she was able to find that for those people. Oh, she really surprised me. I was very happy because I had looked for and I had planned an alternative way of getting, not the whole money, I didn't have the money myself, but getting the money. So when she came with this money, I was really happy. And so we don't argue about that. If we have it, then I have to prove it that we have it. If we don't have it, and she proves it to me that we don't have it, we just submit to one another. In that same Ephesians, that's what it says. Submit to one another. Submit to one another. So if she has the point, I submit. If I have the point, she submits.
But you see, Sunday, you're illustrating something that took you years to arrive.
Okay.
Where discussions are issue-centered.
Yes.
Many of us are still in a state in our lives where discussions are still ego-centered.
I am the head of the family.
That's it. And it's a journey.
Must have those family retreats.
Maybe Princess would like to. It's not our topic, but since she is here by chance, let her just say something to that then before I continue my teaching. Help me welcome my princess.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Happy to see you. Hope you're enjoying the retreat.
Yes.
Yeah. So happy to have you. I'm so glad I came in at the right time. Yes, because it's so unfortunate that there are a lot of pain, misunderstanding, havoc, not meeting expectations in the family. And we all know that God didn't create family to be a place of sorrow, a place of a lot of crying, pains. That really God created marriage for fellowship, for support, for harmony and stuff like that. So each time we come across, couples struggling, suffering in marriage, we always feel a burden, to share our life, to share our experience, and to really inspire people to create heavenly atmosphere, in marriage. When I came, you were discussing, the issue of permission, husband as the head of the family and stuff like that. Well, for a family to work together, we know that both the husband and the wife must be very, very God-centered. And that's what I see in our family. One person is not enough to make a good family. Even if the husband is very dedicated, if he's very anointed, if the wife will also not be very submissive to God, it will be very difficult. Because what helps me to support Pastor's dream about our family, of course, number one is attitude to me. Attitude matters a lot. When you live with a loving husband, when you live with somebody that is so very interested in you becoming the person God has created you to become, when you live with somebody that is always pushing you to become somebody in life, it's much easier to want to pay back. It's much easier to want to be good to that person. But I want to tell you that that's not enough, because there are a lot of, nice husband, men outside there, but still their marriages are not working very well. So the main point, what really helps me, is my understanding of God, my desire to please God, understanding that I'm not in this marriage just for fun, understanding that this marriage is one of my calling in life. And understanding that many other women can meet a lot of many other women can meet other needs, of pastor, but there are some certain needs like peace, harmony, companionship. There are some things that only me can do. And now I don't know the best expression in English, but it's like I have a very good card, like a joker card in my hand.
Yes.
The
winning card.
Yeah, it's like I have the winning card, and now I have to decide what I will do with that card. Will I use it to pull him down? Will I use it to show insecurity, dissatisfaction in life, or I will give that card to God, and I will let God, use my advantages, my opportunity to give it to God, for God to use it for His glory, to glorify His name in my husband's life, in our family, and stuff like that. And what Pastor said is very true, that it didn't happen just like that. It's a journey. We also had our, not really arguments, but for me, I think I was the main problem. Because many things I didn't understand, but thank God through the years, and thanks to understanding, understanding matters a lot. When you get light, when you get understanding, many things just fall in line. So when Pastor says it doesn't control me, that means it doesn't over control me. Although it controls me in a good way, in a way, because it will be very weird to be living with a man that doesn't care what to do, what to eat, where you go, and stuff like that. So he cares about that. Yeah. But what he's trying to say is that if I have a desire, and the desire is good, what it's trying to say is that it doesn't have a right to disturb me. It doesn't have a right to prohibit me. So, He has made me to understand that I can go to anywhere I want to go to. For example, okay, that one I know for sure. But for example, if I still need to go, it's common sense to tell him, right? Yeah. And I don't tell him the same morning. Yeah, because even for me to travel, I need money to travel and stuff like that. So the main point Pastor was trying to make is that he has given me the freedom, so I'm not afraid that, I don't know if my husband will allow me to go. No, I don't have that. Of course, there are situations where I would want to go to certain places. Then Pastor might ask me, to stay back because there are some things we have to do, or to think of another time. But still, they understand that I'm free, to soar. I'm free to do anything I want to do, as much as we have the opportunity. That one I know, and that one is basic. And that's about the husband as the head of the family. Then the second one was about money. Yes, yeah, we have that a lot. We have that a lot because Pastor is a giver, and actually I learned to give. I improved in my giving thanks to him and some other people, because I wasn't used to giving a lot. But I mean, Pastor, God has really worked with Pastor, and the more you know God, the more you want to give, because one of the main thing you get to know about God is His giving ability. God is a giver. Yeah. So Pastor is a giver too, and sometimes we don't always have what he wants to give. So, but me on the other side, I'm more like calculated. I'm more, conservative. Yeah, conservative. A manager. I like planning. I don't like too much surprises and stuff like that, although I get them all the time. Yeah, so we have that a lot, and we've gone through different series. I remember the first, at the beginning I was like trying to submit to Pastor in the finance issue, but I found out that this one would take us to nowhere. Then I started, standing my ground. Then it came to a point that we agreed that, okay, if we will not have unity, then the person that really needs the money, we have to pray to God and ask for a miracle, for a blessing from another side or something. And sometimes it happens. But now, I mean, we are doing well, that we can listen to one another, and we can. It's not that we don't want to give. The problem is that Pastor always wants us to give too much, too much that we can afford, and now the problem comes where to get it from. Yeah, but I think we are doing well, and we are coping. So that is it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. I have to go now. Yeah, so I wish you more good time session with Pastor.
Thank you very much.
So you got the other balance part of it. Eh? Yes. All right, let's just finish this something. So it says, let them. Another thing that I understand from let them is that nobody should disturb them. They have free hands. So you have free hands to rule over the earth. They have free hands to have dominion over the earth. So, and we see the confirmation in Psalms 8. Psalm chapter 8. Verse 6 to 8. You have made him to have dominion over the works of your hands. So that is a basic thing. God has made us to have dominion over all the work of his hands. You have put all things under his feet. How many things? Oh. So should we still now be waiting on him to tell us if we should do it or not? No, he has given us the mandate. All sheep and oxen, even the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea that pass through the path of the sea. So all these things, God has made us to have dominion. He has made us to have rulership over all the creation of his hand. Verse 5 says, you have crowned him with glory and honor. So let them means don't even look back. Don't let anything stop you. So now, let me ask you a small question. What is the major difference you see in the let us of God, what he's supposed to do, and let them that we are supposed to do in the functions? The functions of God has to do with what? And the functions of man has to do with what? Right?
I think the function of God has to do with creation.
Creation of what?
Creation of everything we need.
Okay. Okay.
And the function of man is now to take care of it.
Okay.
To accommodate it.
Okay. Good.
Yeah, man is like in the relationship, is like the executive.
Okay.
We are supposed to be executing, doing, while God, originates what needs to be done.
Brilliant. God is the originator. It means I just need to find out from God. He initiates. He is the originator. So the direction comes from him. What I need from God is only
execution.
No, only instructions and directions. Only instruction and direction. But the execution, no. I don't wait for God to bring things to pass. I bring things to pass myself. That's why history makers don't wait for confirmation. History makers don't wait for God. History makers don't wait for man, and they don't wait for circumstances. They make circumstances obey them. They compel circumstances to count with them. They only wait for direction and instruction, direction from God. You just need to know that God, this is what God wants you to do. You just need to know that, and you don't need to wait for God. For what God needs to know, for God to speak to you in every situation, in every details. No, He just gives you the general something. Have dominion over the whole earth. That direction has been given thousands of years back. Go and execute it. You understand what I mean? Don't be going to say, oh, what toothpaste should I use? Or what church school should I go? No, use your head. You understand that now? But also, you should make, if you look properly, the functions of God are boundary with three things. One, He had created me. He has already finished. Most of the functions of God, He has already finished them. And you should understand that. Not asking for instruction every day anymore. It has already been done. That is why the unbelievers How many of you know that most of the people who really rule the earth, who carry out this instruction, verse 26, you have dominion over the earth, over the creation, most of them are unbelievers. How many of you know that?
Yes.
You know why? You know that they don't ask God, they don't pray to God to ask for direction, because they understand this second point. God's direction, all the God's part of the equation has already been carried out. God has given that instruction once and for all. You don't need to go back to him again to ask him, are you sure you want me to do that? We don't ask for confirmation. He has already said, have dominion upon the earth, all the earth. So now you say, well, I want to ask him, does he want me to have dominion over the fish or over the meat? Or over the animals? Does he want me to have dominion over the grass? That is only Christians' problem. Go and have dominion over the one that your heart feels, you feel attracted to or gravitated to. Yeah, we say that.
You gravitate towards.
Gravitate. What do you gravitate towards? So don't go back and be bothering God about all that kind of question. Use your head. If you have love for the fish, go to the fish. If you don't have any feeling for animals, that is common sense. Don't go. But that's what Christians are doing. They are sitting down and say, okay, since he has said I have dominion over fish and over animals and something, let me go and ask again. You are a disgrace. You are a total disgrace. You are a total disgrace. Unbelievers will not do that. They will just go do what their heart gravitates towards. You understand the difference? He has given you the order. That's why when Jesus said, go ye to the make disciples of all nations, they didn't even go. They were not going to find out, should we go to Cyprus or should we go to Greece or should we go to something. They just kept on going. But when they are making the wrong step, because God has seen there in chapter 16 or so, of Acts, when they are going toward the wrong direction, God has seen their heart that they are full of passion to serve him. He said, no, they will not receive you there yet. They are not ready. No, don't go. No, don't go. He knows how to direct you. He knows how to correct you because you seek to please him. And then he made the man of Macedonia to stand and say, oh, that's the door I've opened. He will give you direction. Don't waste all your life trying to find the will of God. No, you are already having the will of God. You already go and do it. You have the passion. You have a heart. You have the Spirit of God in you. You have the inclinations in you. You have the direction in you. All that is already ready. You are not supposed to spend years on those things anymore. It's already there, elementarily. Are you following me?
Yes.
Now, another thing I want you to pay attention to is that most of the functions and most of the things that God has to do with, he has already done. Don't forget that. God has completed his own duty concerning the earth. Now, it is our duty to develop our relationship with him so that we have his image in us. It is our duty to find out how he is so that we might be able to function like him. It is our duty. Now we continue. Listen closely. Everything God has to do is with creation. He has already created the whole in 7 days. He's finished it. He created us. He finished it. Now, but everything he said we should do, manage the earth, manage the sea, manage the animals, manage the field. What does that have something to do? What does that tell you? It doesn't have anything to do with what? Day-to-day running of the earth. Day-to-day running. We are supposed to do day-to-day running of the earth. Day-to-day managing. More so. We are the ones that have to do with the earth. The earth, this planet Earth, is under the cares of man. So all the things concerning the planet Earth, all instructions, he's saying let them. Let me read that place again. Everything concerning planet Earth, he's not saying I will come and help you. He's not saying I will do it. He's not saying let's divide it. He's not saying okay, let me take this one and you will do the other one. No. Everything that concerning regards planet Earth, who is supposed to do it? Us. Let them. Us. Don't wait for God to come and fix something on the earth. You can ask him for wisdom. You can have relationship with him to see how he would have not done it better, how you could improve on it, how, will give you his wisdom, his understanding. But keep on advancing. Keep on doing something. Don't wait for anybody. Don't wait for a further instruction. Go and obey God, and in the process you will learn more. He said, let us. He has done his own part. Then he said, let them. When it comes to the sea, who is supposed to be in charge? Man. When it comes to the birds, who is supposed to be in charge? When it comes to the fish, who is supposed to be in charge? Then when it comes to the air, who is supposed to be in charge? We. When it comes to the sea, who is supposed to be in charge? We. When it comes to the cat, who is supposed to be in charge? We are. When it comes to the earth, who is supposed to be in charge? We are. When it comes to the creeping things, who is supposed to be in charge? When it comes to land, who is supposed to be in charge? When it comes to plant, who is supposed to... It's all about that. Don't you wait anymore. So that is why this will lead me now to the second part of our teaching, which I will do very fast.
Sorry,
yes.
Just think about just 1 minute.
Yes,
you said there are three things. You said the functions of God are based on three things.
Yes, I've said it. He created, creation.
Okay. Yeah.
Secondly, his image. He put his image in us. He has done it. His spirit is in us. Thirdly, his likeness. He gave us his likeness to be able to function like him.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, so the next thing we have to find out is that if we are supposed to take care of the whole earth, then we must know the laws by which the earth functions. To effectively take care of the earth, we must totally understand how the earth functions, by which laws the earth is supposed to function. And not just spiritual laws, but I'm talking about physical laws, because the earth is operated by giving physical laws. So, in this area, the particular thing I want us to pay attention to are the laws of motion, the laws of gravity, things like that. We know the laws of gravity, but the Isaac Newton's law of motion is something that is the greatest discovery, really, in science about how our earth is supposed to function. And do you know how he discovered it? He discovered it from Genesis. He discovered that God has given us the primary duty of man is to manage the earth. And he said, wow, he and Galileo, they are the greatest people who discover, and with their motivation they are the greatest scientists to discover the things. And the reason that motivated them is the desire to carry out the commandment of Genesis 1:26. To manage the earth for God. So they say if we are supposed to manage nature, the earth, and all creation, we must know by what law these all creation operates. What are the laws and the rules that govern the nature? So the laws of thermodynamics and the laws of motion of Isaac Newton, the greatest genius. On the basis of it, we have everything we have. Mechanism development, industrial development, and everything. All those like Einstein and all those people, Darwin, they all came after him and they all built their something in it. Those are so the three laws of motion. Number one law of motion says everything remains static or in a state of rest until what?
Compelled by an external force.
Yes, until an external force or pressure is applied. All right. So we have an idea of that? Yeah. Okay. So state of rest. Then the second law says Sorry?
The rate of change of momentum is proportional to the velocity.
Very good. The speed or rate of change, either the speed of anything, any object, the speed of any moving object, or the rate of change, the speed of change. Let's say that the speed of change of any object depends on two things. Depends either on the force that is pushing it, and we have a very beautiful African proverb on that. Either it depends. Okay, for example, how fast would this thing travel? Depends on the force that's been applied,
Yes.
or on the weight with the mass, the weight. So even if it's the same force that is coming, the same speed, but if this thing is weighing 100 tons, that force will not move it. But if it's the speed of something and it's weighing only 1 kilogram, it will move faster than 1 ton. Is it true? So the speed or the rate of change, or the speed, let's say the speed of change, depends on net speed. Or net
Mass,
what?
the mass.
The mass and what?
And the speed.
And
Velocity.
the
Or
speed. Velocity. So state, let's say rate of change. Rate of change. Speed. Right? You understand what that means? Okay. Huh?
I didn't quite catch that.
You didn't get it?
Mass and...
It's just weight. Okay. It's very simple to what I just said. The rate of change, of movement, of speed of any object depends on two things.
I got that.
The thing that pushes it, the force that is applied, the amount of force that is applied, or the weight of the object. That's what I just said. If it's more weight, the speed will be faster. So this is dealing with the speed or the rate of change. If it is the more force applied, more energy applied, it will go faster.
I understood that. I just didn't understand why it's called rate of change. I get it. But
That is the change. Velocity. The velocity means rate of change.
Okay.
So that's the second law. Now let's say that with the Yoruba language or in the African the proverb. The African proverb says, if you see an old man running in the middle of the day or whatever, either he's chasing something or something is chasing him. So our people are wise. I tell you that our people are wise. That's talking about velocity. So there are two forces that are responsible for speed. That gets your attention. You remember that. Because you don't see a 80-year-old woman or 70-year-old man begin here in the middle of the day, begin to take.
And there's another component. There's somebody running to catch the phone.
Phone? Anyway, so if you see an 80-year-old man running, in the middle of the day, you're not running for fun. You are going to say, wow, something is happening here. You will come out, the whole city will come out to watch. But there are two reasons behind that. And that's what the proverb said. Either he's chasing something which is the inner velocity. Yeah. The motivation. So there are two forces that are responsible for speed. The inner force, inner motivation, inner reason, or somebody is chasing him. Outward force. Outward force that is beyond his control. Now you can get that better. Now you can get that better. You can get that better. So that's the rate of change, you see. Is that not wise? You got that one. You don't have to ask question anymore. You don't have to ask question anymore. That number 3 law, the third law of thermodynamics of motion. Sorry. Huh? Yes. What? Yeah, but that was it.
Every action has an equal.
Every action has an equal or opposite reaction. and opposite reaction. So, and that means that anything you do creates some reaction. It creates some reaction. It could be an equal reaction, or it could be opposite reaction. It's like somebody says, the way they use it in science is that when you stand on if you put something in the middle, the way we used to play it in Africa, the can or whatever, cylinder. If you put a cylinder and a plank on top, and somebody sits on this side, all the swing that you have, the children have, somebody sits here and somebody sits there. If that other person, seesaw, yeah. If that person leaves, the thing will. It will cause a reaction, and it depends on who. If it's just a small person, it will boom. If it's a big, so that's what it says. Any action, but that is also, it got that from the Bible, from sowing and reaping. Yeah, the same law, the law of sowing and reaping, or the law of velocity. I mean, the law of
cause and effect.
Cause and effect, very good. Cause and effect. Reciprocity, that's what I'm looking for. The law of reciprocity and boomerang, that's right, the same thing, they call it. So it is law of boomerang, reciprocity, and cause and effect. So these three laws, so this is talking about, how do we say, this is about rate of change, this is about state of rest, and this is about cause and effect, right? Yeah. Cause and effect. Now, but the problem with most people is that they don't know that these laws, they are not just mechanical laws, because the way physics has interpreted it is that they are just laws of motion, and physics has used it to invent mechanics and mechanisms and industry and everything we have. It's all technical progress. But the person who invented it as a means of understanding how our earth that we are supposed to manage operates. So this doesn't just stop for science. This thing doesn't just apply to physics. It doesn't just apply to industry. It's supposed to apply to human relationships as well. And it's supposed to apply to societal development as well. So this same law, that's what I discovered for myself, is supposed to be applied in sociology, with relationship. It's supposed to apply in psychology, and it's supposed to apply in anthropology. So how does it apply? Let's begin to examine the two of them. The state of rest. When we are talking about what we are talking about now, national transformation, how can we change our country? This is very important. You don't want to miss this, because you go and come back. Maybe you make it. I don't know.
No, I'll wait.
So, state of rest. How does that apply to me and to you and to Ukraine and to history makers? Something. He says everything remain in a state of rest. That's to say, this thing you are seeing right here, it will remain in that same place millions of years until a force. From outside, pushes it, then this thing can fall, or a force. When this thing begins to decay, and then a force is applied. So then it's changing status. Everything remains state. But they have all used that in science only, in physics. And they have said, and they have used it to create cars and to create motion and to create all those things. But in life and in societal building, for history makers, it means in our country, everything that we don't like, corruption, bad government, lack of culture in the society, anything that is there right now, the way it is, until some pressure is applied from outside, until we come. That's why I was talking about enforcing righteousness. You remember at the beginning?
Yes.
Until righteousness is forced from outside,
Yes.
Nothing will change in Nigeria.
Yes.
Even though I'm preaching,
yes,
we are all preaching about it. We are all talking about it, but we don't teach our people to apply pressure. Nothing
yes.
changes.
Yes.
I don't know if you are getting this.
Yes.
It will remain, everything remains the way it is, state of pressure. So change only comes as a result of applied what?
Pressure.
I don't hear you.
Pressure.
I don't hear you.
Pressure.
I don't hear you.
Pressure.
For anything to change, some pressure must be applied. So resistance is the greatest agent of change. That's why anything you tolerate, you don't resist, you are condoning. That is the dimension I think I've brought to the body of Christ, or God would like me to bring to the body of Christ. To say that we are the change agents.
Yeah.
Let me use the situation with Jesus. When they came to him and said, these people are hungry, they've been with us for 3 days. And there's no food for them, there's no money to get them. We don't have enough money. He said, you go fix it. You go give them something to eat. You go fix it. You go and apply something. Go fix it. Go change it. The same thing God is telling us. Everything will remain in the state at which they are right now. Until we apply forces to change it. We must begin to form and create pressure groups, NGOs, organizations.
Even the name pressure group.
Pressure group. It talks about a pressure force. To change anything, you must apply. That is what is killing America.
Yeah.
That is what is killing America now. And America will decay. I don't need to prophesy. It is clear. Europe, Western nations will decay. And they will fall. And they will be destroyed totally because they have taken a posture of no resistance.
Yeah.
What do you call it? Tolerance? Political tolerance. Correctness. Political correctness. And because that political correctness means don't resist.
Yes.
But without resistance, you condone. And whatever you condone, or whatever the word I used before, tolerate, will later come and dominate you. Dominate you. So what you do not resist rules over you. The same thing with pornography in your personal life. The same thing when you just watching it. I said, no, I will just watch it one time. No, it's 2 times. You are not resisting. What you don't resist, you don't just tolerate it. It dominates you eventually.
Yes.
State of rest. State of rest means no change. Are you following?
Yes, sir.
So, how many of you desire change one way or the other in your society, in your countries, or something? You want to change something around you. Let me see. Apply pressure. Find ways. That might be one of the assignments. Find ways and means. List 5 pressure or force that must be applied for the thing that you wish to change to be changed. The same thing with you yourself. You say, oh, I want to be more spiritual. Oh, I don't like my state of spirituality. I don't like the way I am. When I tell you go lock yourself to be alone with God, that is saying go apply pressure. All these teachings is supposed to go for you. This is included in the book. Yeah. So so when I say go and fast, go and lock yourself, what I'm saying is that apply pressure. That pressure is what causes change. If you want to have your comfort still, and that's why most of the countries in the West that love comfort, they don't want resistance, they don't want pressure. Those countries are falling because change only comes by force. By pressure. Are you understanding? So identify the things that you want to change in your areas of life, calling with your country or something, and 5 ways, 5 pressure that could be applied. And that has been the problem of the Nigerian churches. All of them are praying. They think that it's only prayer that changes things. Yes, in the spirit realm, that's right. But we he says have dominion over the earth. When it comes to that, let us, God, but let them. When it comes to the earth, It's not God. What does prayer do? Will you stand again, please? Prayer is saying, because you are in Nigeria, God, and your church prays like that. I was there one time when you were praying. Oh God, come and change something. Do something about Nigeria.
Open the heavens, oh God.
Do something about
Do something.
Why should the heavens rage or whatever?
Why do the heavens? Why do the kings of the earth imagine a vengeance?
Yeah.
Why do the rulers take counsel?
Arise.
Oh God, arise.
Arise.
And let your enemies be scattered. Arise, oh God.
Arise, oh God.
Hear our cry, oh God. Look upon our problems, oh God.
How many years have you done that?
20 years.
Has the situation improved or gotten worse? Was God deaf?
No.
Because you are exercising ignorance. You don't have insight. You don't know God. People who don't know God behave like that. So the thing to have done is to say, God, give me the insight. Let me see what you see, because I must be your likeness here. Let me see the way you would have liked to do it. God, let me be like you, so that I could carry your nature. Jesus went to throw the things away. Oh, I see that. I will go and do it. Even Jesus applied pressure to make things change. And the cross is a sign of pressure and force through which he brought us salvation. So Jesus didn't just come and pray and say, God, bring salvation to all of them. I pray. No, he went through pressure and force, break the veil that is blocking the salvation of man and for the grace to be open. So he's saying, let them pertains to the earth, and he said, man, they should do it. Heavens are in his hand, but the earth he gave to the sons of men. While we are praying and doing all those, unbelievers are taking every territories and God is blessing them, and God is crying, my God, if my people had woken up. Why is it that not my people doing this? God is sad. God is concerned. Why is it that all the other people are going to do it, and my people are just asking me to do it? But you remember the 2 words, let us. Has he done what he needed to do?
Yes.
It's like saying, this is God. He has said, let us, and he has done it and done to see it. And he now gave you, because the earth is just little piece, nothing, compared to the universe.
Yeah.
Nothing. The universe that he is managing is only one. Let me tell you something. You know what galaxy is? One galaxy is about 500 million times, 500 million times bigger, one galaxy, than the earth. 500 million times, one galaxy, bigger than the size of the earth.
Yeah.
And you know how many galaxies we have? We have about maybe 500 billion galaxies. And each one of them is about 500 million times bigger than the earth. And those are just galaxies. We are not talking about the stars, about the other things, just galaxies alone. So the things that God is managing, so the thing he has given us to manage is actually minute, nothing altogether. But now we are managing nothing, and now we are so lazy that we are now telling him, look, leave all those 500 billion millions of arise, come here, help me. But he will be saying, but I've told you, you have dominion. I've told you, let us. I've done what we are supposed to do. Let them give you the authority, the power, the allowance, the ability, the grace, everything. Go ahead and do. You need strength, fellowship. Come and fellowship. You need energy, insight. Come and pray. Come and fellowship with me. You get more and go and do it. Are you following me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Are you following me now?
Yes. I just have a question concerning just about pressure, because there are some churches within the West that seem to be activist churches.
Yes.
I mean, I receive completely what you're saying here. But this thing, have they been applying a wrong kind of pressure? Someone going against abortion, someone doing other things, or is it that they're just not strong enough for enough pressure to be applied to change the society?
Pressure,
kind of pressure.
yes, it has to be like that, but it has to be done with wisdom. For example, you must fight against abortion in a way that you win. strategy. You must apply strategy. You must go find collaborators, or what they call partners. You must find partners. You must form an alliance, a wide range of alliance, so that you speak, people will listen. And it doesn't have to be by demonstration or something. It could be through parliament. Go run for government, win the election, then change the law from inside. Or it could be, for example, through lobbying. Pressure could be different ways.
And I think different governments in different nations would have different keys. Like there's a way to fight abortion in Canada, and maybe a way not to fight abortion in Canada. So it's to learn, and we come back to research again. Learn the ways to turn the right keys at the right time to influence and change.
Excellent, excellent. So number 2, it says the velocity, the rate of change of motion, the velocity of motion depends on the net speed. On the amount of weight. On the amount of speed that is being applied, and the weight of the object itself, of the mass that is running. So it's what we said, that if you see an old man running in the middle of the day, is that something is chasing it? How fast will it run? Depends on how much danger is for chasing it, or how strength, how motivated he is from inside. So that's what we are talking about. So how does that apply to national transformation? How does that apply to us? It means, for example, this, when oh my God. I had to put off I used to have AIT, they call it, the Nigerian television. And then I used to have NTA. Those are for people from Nigeria. These are Nigerian television channels, stations, that I used to receive in my house here. I had to put them off. Because people are saying, we want this to be done. We want this to be done. And they go and sit down and debate and talk all the time. And I was listening to the president's address. Oh, we are going to make Nigeria to be this, and we are going to be... I believe it will happen, but not because of them. They don't know what they're doing. But they're just saying, I will eliminate the problem of this thing, women, maternity, something. We will make Nigeria 20 greatest economy. We will do, but not by laws. They are doing it by political talk, political promises. So they are just saying, and in all those speeches, I don't see the guidelines, I don't see the milestones, I don't see the roadmap. Yes, I don't see roadmap. They make speech, good speech. We have been independent for something. We are a country that is, endowed by this wealth and this possibility, this potential. Why should we? Don't tell me theory. Don't tell me those things. Why should we still be poor? Why should don't work on my emotions like that. Don't tell me rubbish. Why should we? We all know we're poor. Why should we? It's not my problem. Give me the solution. Give me the roadmap. Oh, why should we be, so Africa is so rich, Africa is so this, and we are still at the stage where we are. Oh my. Our leaders, they are the problem. What are they doing? Oh, we need change in this country. Yeah. We need revolution. I know. Who doesn't know?
Doesn't know that.
Don't play populism with my face, please. Yeah. When you are a man of understanding, those things drive you mad.
Yes.
That is rubbish. That's for foolish people. That's for populists. That is for that is for
the ignorant.
Yes, ignorant, blind people. That is for the blind. Don't be talking those emotions here.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when I was watching for 2 years, I was following those television programs. People don't come with solutions. People steer emotions up like that.
Yes.
Few come with concrete recommendations, roadmaps. So the rate of change of any society, even the speed, can be measured. Are you listening to me?
Yes.
That's why anybody that knows me have been hearing me say, I only need 5 years to deal with Nigeria, to deal with the situation, to change Nigeria around. 5 years. This is scientific. You could scientifically measure the speed and the rate and the velocity of change that you will bring to the society, how long will it take you to change that country? How long will you change it to improve the economy? How long will it take you to change the situation about crime, the situation about corruption? All those things could be measured, and the parameters are true. It depends on number one, you have to mobilize enough pressure from outside. Speed, to know that this amount of pressure or this amount of speed, we create this amount of speed, and we create only this amount of improvement. So if we want to double that amount of improvement we just had, we need to increase that speed twice or 100 times. So that way we will be able to generate by this time this amount of change we need. Are you following me?
Yes.
So that number two, something is responsible for change in society, in mindset, in schools. So we could use that to say, okay, the educational system in Nigeria, we have people failing, all those things. How many schools do we have? How many years do they study? How much will it take us to make sure that these people in Form 5 graduate WAEC? What do we need to do to train them to make sure that they pass their WAEC, all of them, or in one school? Okay, if one school takes out this amount of effort, how many teachers, and how much attention, how many hours? So, and we were able to make 100 people pass the exams. If we have 1 million people, so how many hours would that multiply to? How much money would that equal? How much attention do we need? How much people do we need? How much teachers do we need? How much? You can calculate all those things. So make sure, so that has to now, as a Minister of Education, will now allow me to say, it will take us 5 years to get to that amount of people. It will take us how many years to do that kind of classes and lectures for people. So in the next 5 years, I will be able to guarantee that, because on the basis of these 100 people that have been mentored and trained in this school that have had this result, we will be able to have this same result in the next 5 years. We will be able to have 100% or 90% pass rate for all our schools. Elementary. Are you following me?
Yes.
So when you are making your political speech, I saw it in your something yesterday too. It was good education or some good infrastructure. That's why they call politicians. I will not campaign like that. I will come out like they have just said now, with facts. I will do it differently. I will even put big board on and say, you see, I have reason to say this. In this thing, this one will produce this one produce this. That's the reason I say, in this amount of time, I will produce this. With this amount of money, with this amount of attention, with this something. This is exactly the result I'm going to have. So I'm not promising you. I am showing you the fact of what will happen, either you like it or not.
We're working on that.
Yes, are you getting it now?
Yes.
And the same thing in agriculture, the same thing with oil industry, the same thing with youth development, the same thing with, so I know what I'm saying when I say I need 5 years only for Nigeria. It's a thorough work, but it's very elementary to do if you know principles. So that is number one. The amount of force that you are willing to apply. You must calculate that. Then the weight of the object, of the mass. Because even, like I said, if 100 kilometers per hour of speed is being applied to an object of 1 gram or 1 kilogram, 100 kilometers of speed, it will just fly it like this. But if 100 kilometers of speed is being applied to something of 100 tons, it will just, it will almost not even move. It will just move, hardly move, just bare movement, because of the weight is different. So we must measure the amount of work before us, the weight of problem that we have. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How deep is this problem? We must measure it. We must sit down also to do calculative work. How deep is this problem? How heavy it is? What is the weight of it? And how much pressure we will need to put from how many angles to make sure that we accelerate this progress and this movement. You understand it? So these laws of Newton, they are not just for mechanics or for industry. They are for everything, even for economic development and national transformation.
I can express that in
Yes,
a
sir.
situation.
Yes, sir.
Can I try?
Yes, go ahead.
I like physics, so this is really good.
But they must understand your equation.
Yes, very good. The law is basically summarized as MP, right? So that's the mass, the speed, the distance. Right. So if it was time that it was trying, the time is going to take to create the change is going to be divided by the force. So the bigger the force that you exert, the lesser the time. So in a situation where we need to move something forward, like we were saying, we just need to increase
We need to
the
advance
force.
the society, advance the economy,
increase the force, and the time that it takes to do it
will be reduced.
is going to increase. Now you now notice that the mass is also a multiplier. So if the mass is big, right, it makes the time more. But mass is not a variable. We can't reduce the mass now because that's a society, So the only other variable that we can work on, right, is the velocity, which is
the pressure.
The amount of pressure we put on it. So it will reduce the time. So
So the critical factor in all of this is the force and the weight.
And the force and the speed.
So the force and the speed, because embedded in the force is the weight.
Yes.
So it's the force and the speed we apply that determines the time.
What did you say? These critical factors you said?
Yeah, from what you're trying to explain, I wanted to just focus on what
which is right. Which is right.
M is the mass.
But I would call the critical factor calculations, preparation. That is what I would call the critical factor. Preparation.
Because if you don't do that, you can't even begin to talk about applying the weight.
Of course, preparations and calculations.
Yeah.
That is what we learn. Preparations and calculations. Not the fact of how to do it. Some people might know it in the head.
Yes.
But to sit down, calculate how much weight, how much side node, problem we have. And how to resolve it. Then how much speed we have, how much pressure can we galvanize. That is all the thing that really takes a lot of pain and work.
I don't know, one of the beautiful things how science is even explaining. So I'm in another cloud altogether.
I trust Professor. That's why I'm happy that he's here. Because he is going to take this thing. You will see the way you apply. Yeah, he's not the type that will just go and think good and be happy that he got another revelation. He's going to apply. And that's why I like people like that, who will not just listen to my message. That's why I don't talk. You remember all you people at Income, I've not been talking about it because I must be I didn't say it too much. I must be concerned that you are going to take it and begin to live like that. Not just on one question or the other, but everywhere. Apply this principle.
But Sunday, my first reaction is that, honestly, why did it take you so long to share this?
I need to prepare you people.
Because
I only got people to come here who are proving that they applied the other things that I've taught. I will not give you the first time because it just make your head big. But people who are used to applying and people who want to apply something, you can now give them more.
Because every one of our graduates should leave the institute with this information, knowing they must apply pressure, knowing how to sit down, because as I look at this equation you just broke down, listen, go and study science. Some of you have shied away and look at what you're denying yourself. M is not just the mass which can relate to population. That's why some people have argued Singapore is only what, 5 million. Nigeria is 150 million. Obviously, you're talking about two different populations. So you can't just take what has been done in Singapore and bring to Nigeria. There's a quantity factor, a multiplier factor. But what I like about this is that D, in terms of distance, actually is discussing to the extent you want to improve the country.
Yes.
Do you want to stop at the middle income level, or do you want to push it all the way to first world level? Is that making sense? Where do you want to stop? And so I'm just relishing this, because don't worry, we will do something with it.
Amen.
Okay, awesome. Awesome.
I know what you did with the conversion, and I know that you'll be able to do the same thing with this as well.
Wow.
You want me to continue with the third one?
Yes.
Yes. Do we still need the third one?
Yes.
Wow. Assignments too. Okay, then let's talk about it. But the assignment in the second one, I don't want to give it because it will be too much for it. Maybe we should just say the second one, that make detailed research and analysis. Make detailed research and analysis of the things you would like to change. How heavy is the challenge? What is the mass? That is how heavy is the mass, this challenge. What is the amount of time you will need? To do that. What is the amount of time and other resources? Not just time. Time and other resources you will need to. What is the amount of time and other resources you will need to change, to move, to bring about the change that you need to bring about? No, time and other resources. Then the third question, how much pressure is being applied to get that amount of time and change? And also here, if you want to shorten or do a faster work or a quicker work, a quicker change, bring about a quicker change and a quicker or a faster change, how much more pressure do you have to apply? I've confused you, eh?
I didn't get the last one.
Okay, you got the first two?
Yeah. Make detailed research and analysis of the things I'd like to change. How heavy is the master challenge and what is the amount of time?
Yeah, the third one is just the pressure.
The pressure.
Yeah. How much pressure will you need to apply to get the result you had mentioned above? But then the second part of that question on the pressure, the third one, is if you want to make it even faster, the change bring about even faster. So how much increase, how much more pressure do you need to even apply?
So Isaac Newton actually had this in his heart from a biblical perspective.
Yeah. He studied more of the Bible than science. Huh?
He was a theologian, and then theology was divided into two. There was natural theology, and then there was theology that you read the Bible.
And the reason he was doing that was to compare the laws of God and the laws of nature, and to bring them together. Yeah. He was doing all that only to know how to better serve and minister to the, administer the earth for God. So anyway, number 3. So anyway, before I go to number 3, number 2. So if you are, he's talking about the speed of change, right? If you are doing, that's where this statement comes from, that Americans use a lot, especially motivational speakers. They always say, if you keep on doing the same thing over and over again, and you're expecting a different result, that is the definition of insanity. That is not logical. It's abnormal for you not to put more pressure So that is what he's talking about. They're actually applying to the law of Newton.
It's Einstein's.
Yeah, but it's so, Einstein, all that they improve on. Yeah, Newton's theory.
No, but it was Einstein that said that.
He made that statement. Yeah, but American preachers, and not preachers, motivational speaker, they quote that a lot.
Yes.
They quote that. I don't know if you have heard that before.
Yeah.
They quote that a lot. But that insanity, that statement, is coming from this law. So what Einstein was trying to say, that he was trying to say that for you to expect anything to change, you must apply pressure. And if you are doing the same thing, even though you are applying pressure, because you're already doing something, doing in action is pressure. So you are already doing something, but you are doing it at the same speed, velocity. You are doing it at the same speed, the same rate. You will only have the same result, even though you are having result. But the second law says, but if you want the change to go faster, the pressure has to increase, or the size, the mass has to be reduced. Something has to increase, something has to change. Yeah.
And from this, I'm just saying, there's something we've seen in the Ukraine, and it's what that law is. It's momentum. That's called the law of momentum.
Momentum, right?
That's the law, second law.
Yes.
When things are happening fast, change is taking place in various places.
Yeah.
So the key to creating momentum is that
pressure factor.
Yeah.
I always keep pressure on. I always form more organizations, more movement, more leaders, more people. I always keep the motion moving. Fast. I'm always increasing the space, the speed, and the pressure. By producing more leaders, by producing more structures, more organizations, more trainings, more. Yeah. So the number 3 law. I don't know. Some of you are just looking as if. Anyway, number 3 something. It says, any action you take will cause some reaction. So action causes reaction, or leads to reaction. Reaction, either of equal reaction and equal and opposite reaction. So, what does that say? That could mean different things as well. So it means that everything you do, that's what Proverbs says. What does it say? Does it say all labor leads to profit, or how does it say in Proverbs?
There is profit.
Yes, in all labor there is profit. That's important. Labor, work. In all work there is profit. So don't think you are wasting your energy. You do something. Do something. So all action produces result. One result. But nobody can guarantee the result. It depends on the quality of the action itself. The result could be of equal. It says what a man sows, he reaps. So if you just do something just for something, that's what you get, equal reaction. But if you do something of quality and do something, you reap in abundance. Opposite, you reap much more bigger. You sow 1, you reap 100. That is one understanding of that. All action depends on the action, the amount of the action, the impact of the action, the heart of the action will always bring a proportional action or reaction. But then, another part of it which we don't like too much is that all action creates a reaction, which is the opposite reaction, which is against. So all the efforts, when you're talking about national transformation, any effort you are trying to make to bring a change, a positive change, will create a reaction, an opposite reaction against you. So if you are like, for example, in my own case, when I was building a church just local church of 1,000 people or 10,000, all the problem I had was with me, just me to overcome myself. Then with my leaders in church, but when I began to take on the society, all hell broke loose. Proportional reaction. So the amount of change you want to bring about, the amount of action you take, the amount of effort you put in will attract that same level of opposition. So expect opposition if you want to bring about a change. Some people are going to hate you. People are going to fight you. When you are insignificant, when you are on the insignificant level, you're just enjoying life. So people who really are bringing about major amount of change and transformation, that's why they have more problem than other people. So you can understand the reason for my sorrow now. I have a lot of problem in my hand, but thank God I have explanation for it, not just in the spirit, but in the natural too. This is a law.
So you must confront the brutal fact.
The what?
You must confront the brutal fact.
Yes, we must confront that brutal fact that your actions, even though you want to do something good, but the opposite, it's express spiritual warfare too. The opponent, the opposite, the enemy will fight you. Satan doesn't want to give his territory out for free easily like that. He's going to resist you. So the amount of resistance will be proportionate to the amount of effort you are putting, the amount of change you require. But you don't need to worry about that. As long as you are that fish, you maintain relationship with your source. Just maintain your relation with your source. That is your automatic protection, because you are in your territory, you are in your domain, you are in your place of functioning, you are in your place of protection. You don't need to be asking. It's just like the fish running away from the fish and say, the pressure here is too much. The tide is coming, and the water is robbering. And let me go ahead and go and look for protection outside in the cement. So that's what we do sometimes. We are looking for protection. Just naturally remain where you are, and just keep on doing what you need to do. So you don't need to begin to look for. You enjoy automatic protection because you are fulfilling destiny. You are fulfilling your purpose. You are not going out of your terrain, out of your territory. You are fulfilling purpose.
I think this principle may work with financial increase as well.
Everything.
Yeah.
It works, not that it may.
There's a saying we have in America or North America: more money, more problems.
Oh yeah.
Where people
more success generally. More success, more challenges. So in this point, we could ask a question and say, what are the challenges you envisage to come, and from what direction do you think those challenges will come from? Especially on your own level. Some of you are operating on the level of the local level. Some of you are already operating on the national level or state level, regional level. Some of you are operating on the national level or international level. So where do you envisage your own challenges? Some of you, your own challenge is only with your flesh, or only with your team, or only with your members.
I can give you some practical examples.
Yes,
when I got involved in the political process, the first major challenge I had to overcome was within the particular political party that I had chosen to use as a platform.
Are they hearing you? I don't know if they're hearing you.
I don't know. Maybe I should stand up. Now, I just want to give a practical example, just to practicalize the last point he made, by giving an example of my experience recently in seeking to run on the platform of a particular political party. Okay, so when the initial challenge I faced was, interestingly enough, all kinds of machinations to prevent me from becoming a member of the party. So just even becoming a member, and this is something which is very interesting for many of us who are believers in Nigeria. People were amazed at the fact that to become a member of a party involved a lot of intrigue. Suddenly you find that the people who need to register as a member of the party are just not available, and all of that, because people who control the party want to also control who comes in. And if you're coming in, you might be seen as somebody who is going to be a potential threat. So just becoming a member was a challenge. And even after that, running in the primaries was a challenge, because the people who will do everything possible to manipulate the process. And when they see it's not working, you get threats, you get death threats, you get all kinds of threats.
But before you attempted to run, you are living your own life in Lagos. Nope, you didn't have any that amount of pressure or any, isn't it? Yeah, tell them comparison. Yes. Because
so
in
comparison, the one of the things which some of the practical steps, of course, which I took, one was to ensure, like Jesus, whenever he sent out the disciples, he sent them out 2 by 2. So I had a constant travel companion. So we would pray together, talk together, strategize together, do things together, and that helped to create the environment, like Pastor Sandy was sharing about being like the fish. So in all of these pressures, people will come and offer you services. People will come and say, look, we can work for you and intimidate your enemies. We can go and, if need be, even assassinate on your behalf. And you'd have to say to them that, no, you're operating within a certain environment and a certain value system, so you cannot come out of that. Because the minute you come out of that, you're like the fish that's out of the water, applying to that, the other
you're on your own.
You're on your own, exactly. So those are some of the kinds of pressures. And you face pressures like, for instance, during the primary process, to people come and say, look, if you give us money, we can manipulate the process. And you'd say again, no, we're like fish, we stay within this context. Because the minute we come out of here, we are exposed. So we stay within here and play it by different rules, because we had a long-term objective.
Now, why do you people think I had to go into the area of these laws, Isaac Newton laws and things? Why do we need to do that? I needed to do that because if we are to manage the earth for God, if the earth is our concern, we must know the laws operating and guiding life generally. And that means what the professor said, we need to study science. Not, you don't need to go and become a physicist, because this thing I'm explaining now, even physicists are not explaining to you like that. But they are seeing it as a mechanical thing. But the wisdom of God will allow you to apply. When I came across this, I think, how can I apply it? How does it work? So I think a lot. I think about relationship with God also helps you to get because before I got the knowledge, even though I was praying, no understanding. But through knowledge, my relationship with God triggered understanding to come. So knowledge and relationship with God will bring insight and knowledge and revelation and things like that. So we need to know how things work. So if you know these laws, and for me, these laws, it's not just things I'm teaching you. I live by them. You operate by them. Look at our church. You don't just see results for nothing. We live, we take action. We change things. Anything in this country that we don't like, we change it. We don't wait for anybody to do something. Because everything remains in that state of rest until somebody changes. Then the rate of change depends on us. We start political parties, we start more. Before we used to have five pressure groups. We create pressure groups, NGOs, pressure groups. We used to have maybe about 10 politicians, people in government and church who could influence government. Now we have only at church alone over 500 people in government we put there to go and influence government. So we create the pressure, the process of changing stuff, changing things. And then cause and effect. We are sowing today in Ukraine and preparing people for the government, for policy, for society. We are creating that right now. We are sowing. We are working. The changes that will come in Ukraine, they are not the things you are seeing now. This stage is just even the stage of planting. We are just planting all those cities, all those things. We are just at the stage. The effect is not yet here. But the pressure is already there, because the things we are doing, the thing we are is big already, but it's small. But the proportional pressure reaction is already coming. But we are working. We keep on working, and I hope you got something. Anyway.
Yeah.
Let us let them, and the focus is now on us. Let us let them. God has said that from the beginning, long time ago. Let them. Don't let anything hold you back. God has spoken to everything. He has spoken to the forces in heaven. He has spoken to the forces on earth. He has spoken to the forces under the earth. Let them. The only thing that will hold you back is you.
Yeah.
Oh, don't hold yourself back. You have no limitation in life apart from the limitation of yourself and of your mind, of your lack of knowledge, the things you don't know. Please, let's overcome our limitations and let's go and become co-rulers of the earth for God. Thank you.